Conversation, right?
Oh, we might as well. Yeah, that would be
Okay,
what we would.
cool.
Now, is it live? Yes, it is
Uh,
live. So, hello.
Hi.
Hello. Welcome
Let's see.
to the Aureus Pressure Cast. We're just messing with audio. GIFs sounds a bit quiet to me, but
Oh,
I mean,
let's
I can
see.
hear her. So,
Um,
what do you think?
I don't know. Trying to see what
It sounds like there's a lot of static.
there
Like I can hear
is.
you. We can survive it. Like if you don't want to worry about it, but it sounds like there's a lot of
Yes.
static and that you're
Huh.
not
Weird.
ideal audio wise. Yeah.
Okay, it should be better. Let me try one thing. Sorry about this.
Oh, don't worry.
Um, okay. This might mess things up. Give me a moment. Okay.
Oh,
Is that better?
oh, way better. That's it.
Oh,
You did it. Success.
we did
Well
it.
done. Well done. So, yes, welcome. Gifts. What should I call you? Just call you that?
Just gifts. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Welcome, Gifts.
Thank you.
Who
Thank you for having me
I
on.
only, yeah, but yeah, well, thanks for coming. It was a very short notice. Wait, when did I ask you? Was it today or yesterday?
I think it was yesterday, but I didn't
Yesterday.
know you were asking me to come on. And then I was like, wait, he's asking me to come on a show right now. So I gotta just get ready. And now I'm here.
You thought I was asking you just to talk or something, or what?
Yeah, because usually people want to do like a preliminary talk.
Oh, do they? Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, this is fine. I think in a way this is better, honestly.
yeah, probably. I mean, it'll be the same thing, but we'll approach and enter everything naively, like you do in your videos. Because I
Yes,
only came
exactly.
aware of your videos yesterday. And by the way, everybody I showed as well were completely like, "Whoa, that's really amazing." How come
Oh,
I've never
sweet.
heard of this person? Yeah, well, it is very. You did a very very good job, I thought. So I
Oh,
want to
thank
talk to you
you.
about that. That and the obvious. We are the mutual. How do I say it? Similar creature in that we have this. I'm guessing a similar art school experience, which has driven you to filled you with hate and
Hmm.
made you
Yes.
into a monster. Yes, as it
Yeah.
did with me.
Yes.
Similarly, right?
Very much so. And I actually noticed that many in our circles are art school dropouts, or people who went to art school and realized that there's something wrong. Because like you can definitely tell spiritually, you get right to the core of things when you're touching culture like that. You can see it kind of before everybody else can, I think.
Well, so we like say we were good at drawing or whatever, and we thought we were going to go and learn how to be, Beatrix Potter and Frank Frazetta or something. And very, I'm sure we were overly naive, but like really, it was like a
Yes.
ludicrous circus of a thing of just. I mean, we can go into the art school stories. I'm sure you have good ones too. But I could tell that you said, I think you said in your bio, it says in your bio or something that you were a failed art school student or something, or you dropped out or something. Not
I
failed, but
dropped out. Yeah, I wasn't failed. They failed me really because
hmm.
there was many of my professors. I wanted to do classical art, and I actually had gotten very good on my own accord. And when I got there, uh, they were like, "We can't help you. You're better than we are." Like they actually said that to me because they were all doing postmodern art.
We
They didn't
can't
have the
help you. We're
skills.
better than you are. Is that's
No,
what
no,
they said?
no, no. They said that I was better
Oh,
technically than
all
they
right.
were. So like the
Hmm.
studio classes I just found were atrocious, except for the life drawing experience, or life painting experience, which I did several hours of that. But really, I ended up just taking art history classes after a while, and then that's when I really realized that there was something very, very wrong.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, it took me, well, when we're that young, you don't expect that, right? You go into it, like I said, expecting at least to learn. I mean, I knew that art was a bit, I knew I was opposed to modern art from a very young age. When I first saw it when I was young, I was famous for saying, this is garbage. I don't have any, and like my kids say that now to this day, that when they see it, they're like, it's a natural, normal response. But
Mhm.
you sort of go into it expecting a bit of that, but to also learn something valuable at the same time. But really, I mean, most of mine and a good deal of yours, I'm sure, was really trying to push you into that postmodern mindset.
Yeah.
And there was no, I didn't get, I honestly, I had a lot of fun in the end because I was in college and having fun, but I didn't learn anything. Anything
Same.
art-wise I learned afterwards. I'm sure,
Yes.
right?
Same. Yeah.
And were you studying anything related to video or films, considering the incredible quality of your videos?
Oh, thank you. No, well, on my own accord, I did. I don't think I ever. Uh, I don't think I ever took a film class. But my friends, my hipster friends, I hung out with on the weekends. We would discuss film, and I did know a film major, and so we had all sorts of conversations. But I have always been intrigued and interested in film. Definitely, I'm pretty well versed. Not updated recently though. I basically just stopped paying attention at this point
Paying attention to what you mean?
to movies, to film. I just think
Oh,
it's an awful medium and irrelevant.
well, it's been made itself irrelevant. Yeah, you can still
Yes,
catch the odd good one though. I still find the odd underground one that's good. But often they're older ones, but I do
usually older ones. Yeah.
usually. But there's still even the odd new one. It's still good that ekes out. It surprises you, and it'll be imperfect. But yeah, you're right. It's mostly come and gone. But that's why something like your videos were so. Just to see someone putting that much time and effort into the quality from start to finish, and like not just the quality, but like you had your own little world going, and you were completely you were completely brave about it. Like you stuck to the whole temp format in each one. It seemed like you're like
Yes.
the innocent. Like you take the viewer in, you're the innocent internet person, and you're like, oh, what's this? And like you play the part perfectly. All you do is like look at fucking Cardi B or whatever, and then you just look up at the camera, and you just like all you do is look even. You don't even have to say anything. No, that's perfect.
Yes.
It's absolutely perfect. The way you did it, I was really very impressed.
Thanks. I
So,
actually got the idea from Poppy, the Poppy Project. If there are younger people listening, they'll know about that project.
oh,
Not
see, I
that
don't
you
know what
not that you wouldn't know about that project, but it's
I don't.
kind of like, yeah, it was a good one, and I thought that maybe if the topics that were being addressed were more uh, important, instead of just like silly and kind of abstract, that maybe that type of video project would be successful or good. And I did get like kind of a cult following doing it, which is great. But I don't think it's a medium that really suits me anymore. I think I'm going to move on and do other things. But it was great
Oh
while I was
no.
doing it.
Oh, I'm so sad.
To a degree, like I will still be making videos. I just think I'm going to take it a little bit of a different direction. Yeah.
Well, I noticed you haven't done one for like almost a year, so I figured something like that was happening. But I really think you really did a very good job. So what's can I ask? Is it a secret to this new direction that you're taking?
Somewhat of a secret. I haven't announced it here and there. I haven't officially announced it, but there's two things that are going to be happening. I'm going to be working for Arctos, their magazine publication. You may have heard of them.
Mhm.
So I'm going to be doing a podcast about culture and stuff like that.
Okay.
But then also, with regards to my personal project, I think I'm going to move more into the realm of music, and of course video going along with that. But yeah, I like to create something solid that people can actually hold in their hands. And making videos on YouTube is kind of tough, especially because they've cracked down so hard on so many of us in the dissident right, or whatever you call this scene. Uh, it's very unreliable, and as like a solid art piece, video making is, I want it to be tethered to something else, is what I'm saying. Not just the video alone.
Right.
If that makes sense. Yeah.
Right. Well, I didn't see any videos quite like it. To be both, utterly based and then also very arty, and the whole approach. So you didn't have any help, no? Or you said you had someone help you edit or something, was it?
So I do all the editing, all of the sound work, all of the music. But I do have somebody that, I kind of bounce ideas off of, who wants to stay anonymous right now, that will, I'll write a script and then they'll edit the script, kind of help me make it sound a little bit better here and there. But yeah, I would say 95% is me. Uh-oh, I've lost you. I can't hear you. Yeah, I can't hear you.
No, that happens to me. My mic just mutes on these things. And just you can tell me what happened.
Okay, I can hear you.
Yeah, thanks. What was I going to say? But what was I saying? Oh yeah, so I only
Um,
caught the tail. I only found these videos yesterday, and you gave them up like a year ago. So it's a bit sad. It is a bit sad. I'm sad to hear all this.
I
But
mean, I might do another one. I might continue things, but it just might be a little bit different.
mm,
I think it'll be better very
yeah,
soon. Very soon, yes.
because you had there was a good eerie quality, like a story. You invented a little world. You followed it through in great detail. The little computer guy and all the stuff with the effects, and then you did all the music yourself. That was a huge amount of work. I wish I had
Yeah.
such effort for my little videos. But anyways, that's another bit of business. But
Yeah, it's a lot
yeah,
of work. It really is,
yeah,
and
yeah, it is.
I enjoy making every one of them. But yeah, it's quite taxing. The worst part is doing the audio work. Having to take out sounds and stuff that are undesirable. I mean, having like a team. People will ask me sometimes, "Do you have a team of people helping you produce these videos?" I'm like, "No,
I
I
actually
just."
thought there was. I actually thought you probably did have a small team. The
Really?
quality was. Yeah, I did. I did definitely. Did.
Wow.
Well, I
Thank
wasn't sure. I
you.
was like, okay, she could be the total. She's talking about art school. She could be a total autist, and do it all. So not you're not autistic, but you know what I mean. You could
Yes,
be
I've gotten
into it,
this before. Trust me.
right?
Yes, I
Don't worry.
do
It could have
most
been a team of
everything
people.
myself.
There's things you could get with teams of people that wouldn't be as good as that. I can tell you that.
Yeah, once you
But
involve other people, it kind of distorts things. Definitely.
that's true. Yeah, the purity of your vision and the weirdness of them. There was a great eeriness you captured there, and just like
Thank you.
followed through on purpose. There's one video I had of just you like standing there, turning to this weird music,
Yes.
and it's like raining lights on you or whatever. I was like, what the hell is this? You know, it's so great because
Thank
everything's
you.
normally so dry and the. But also Arctos, you're going to do. What are you going to do there? Like a column, a blog thing? Is it?
Yeah, it's gonna be a podcast, and we're hoping to invite on, uh, people in the community to talk about various different, maybe more contentious topics. These kind of blurry gray areas where people on Twitter and whatnot kind of disagree on things. But yeah, it'll be culture and music, art related, obviously. Not so much politics. I mean, maybe, kind of stepping into that realm, but generally speaking, I don't really want to get too political.
Right. So let me say, like, so in terms of your art, so most of your videos are about art. I saw that too. So that was your focus. Like, were you always on the art tip of things in that regard? How long have you been realizing and campaigning against modern art? Like a very long time, or was it
Yeah.
recent? Yeah.
Yeah, for a very long time. Probably since I was uh, 20, 21. I mean, it's just been like just horrible since I left art school. I didn't graduate, and coming from a classical background, I mean, it's awful seeing some New Yorker who's like, newly a teacher at your school and at your university telling you, oh, well, painting's dead. Painting doesn't matter anymore. Who cares about that? You have to make video art instead. And what I value about art, is many things, but one is the skill aspect of things. I think that's really important. So I had worked on my skills tremendously, and then suddenly I'm told that that doesn't matter anymore. So since then, it's been quite a while that I've been, you know, trying to talk about this subject. And I hope we can cover so much more on this cast and with whatever else that I'm going to be doing in the future here.
You're right. And have you done podcasts before? If you're going to start doing your own podcasts?
I've been on other people's casts. I've never done one myself, but I think it's a good opportunity because one thing I can't do with the videos is go into a lot of depth on a particular topic. They're very
Right.
much art as opposed to a commentary video. And I don't know about you, but I am kind of sick and tired of commentary videos. There are way too many commentary
Oh,
videos
I
on the
wouldn't have watched
internet.
I wouldn't have watched any of those for like a very long time. I'm not sure I ever did, to be honest.
Yeah,
But
they're
I mean,
such.
Arctos is a good crowd. Yeah, but every now and again they seem to switch their main editor every now and again, and then I always like I always hear from a new guy, and they sort of either like me or don't like me. I don't know. It depends.
Oh,
well, not that they hate me or anything, but like I remember when I first did my art book, I approached them and I thought, maybe they'd publish it and then whatever, and they didn't get back to me. And then
Hmm.
later on, I became friends with the guy who was in charge of that, and he was like, "No, I didn't even read it," and now he's a huge fan of it. He's a huge
Oh,
fan of the book now. Yeah, I didn't even read
good.
it at the time. Yeah, right. So he didn't publish it then. But then this other guy who replaced him actually contacted me out of the blue and said, "Oh, I love this book. This is so great. Why don't you do a special edition for Arctos or something like that?"
Oh,
And yeah, so they even came to me after that, and then I was like, "Well, there was no benefit to me really to do that at that point."
oh,
So
okay. Uh-oh, you're out again. Yeah, you're out. Still can't. No, don't hear you.
weird.
Ah,
Happens.
there we go.
Normally, it just happens once. Now it's happening all the time. There's always some fucking thing. There's always some stupid thing that is going on.
Of
I was
course.
actually, when you said you wanted to have the video on, I became worried because
Oh,
I've had it off the last two. I did just because I was getting lag as well. That like one of the ones I did like a few last week or 2 weeks ago, it actually like froze up and kicked me out of the chat, out of the
oh,
yeah. But uh, hopefully it works from now. What was I going to say now about Arctos? Oh yeah, then I wrote my novel, my sci-fi novel. And the same guy who was like gushing over the book and saying he wished he'd published, I sent him that, and he didn't respond to me. He was like, no, he didn't even respond. I didn't even send him that. I sent him
uh-oh.
like the idea of it, and he was didn't get back to me. But that wouldn't be in their wheelhouse of things, pulp sci-fi anyway. So I don't blame him for that.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah,
And
they seem like a really good publication and
oh yeah,
have a good rap as far as I can tell.
yeah.
Uh, but yeah,
And did you approach them, or did they approach you with this idea?
they approached me. I was very flattered.
So you're somewhat famous for these little videos then that I've just discovered 2 days ago.
I
Do you have any?
guess I guess so.
I mean, that's how it goes, I guess, when you do a good job on something. But I wanted to ask you as about the specifics of your art school experience as well, and to compare it to mine. So
Hmm.
you were saying you got there. What else? What else happened to you, like right off the bat, other than them saying, "Oh, you're too good for us. You can't."
Well, yeah, I'd like to know more about your experience too. But yeah, the skill
What did I
aspect,
know?
the skill aspect was gone. So that's what they were referring to. Uh, that my skills were higher than the professors there, and clearly so.
Really? So
Um,
you're that good at drawing and painting, right? We must see
yeah,
this now. This part of you we have not seen. That's
right, and people ask me about it from time to time, and I am going to be releasing some paintings and drawings very soon. I actually think I might try to do a show, uh, hopefully in the next year or so. So
oh
you guys
really?
will get to see it. Yeah, yeah, and hopefully it's as impressive as I've made it out to seem. But I mean, it's just true. It's just true that I had this experience that my professors they really we can't really do much more for you. You basically have the skills that you need, and we can't really teach you anything. Um, but yeah, let's see. I I don't know. I mean, I went to an awful school. I went to Herberger Art School in Phoenix, Arizona. It wasn't anything great. My parents were like, "No, you're a girl. You have to stay nearby," and I didn't blame them. I was really young, and they were kind of scared for me to go off somewhere else. I was actually considering going to an Italian school, and I was
Ooh.
talking to them, and
Is
I
this the
was
Florence? The one in Florence? What's it called? What? There's a few there.
there's a few. I
Yeah,
can't remember which one in particular, but I really wanted to take my skills to the next level, do the sculpting that
yeah.
they do and everything. And man, I really wanted to go, but my parents were like,
Me too.
no,
Me
kids are
too.
the
Yeah.
both. You did too. Okay.
Well, it was very expensive. I mean, and
Yes.
I was by the time they were around, I'm older than you, much older, I think. And by the time I became aware of them, I'd already been out of school for a little while, and I would have had to pay for that myself. And it was like, I forget what the tuition was, but it was quite a bit
It was
for,
expensive. And then you have to go
yeah,
live there. It's just,
which
it,
would be great. And I
which
know
would
a
be
girl who did. I know a
awesome.
girl who went to one of those schools actually, and I have interviewed her, and she's a friend of mine. And
Oh,
but she doesn't even do art anymore. So she made some excellent pieces and everything, but I shouldn't like make a living out of it afterwards or anything.
That's sad.
Yeah,
It's very sad.
yeah. So, but if you really are good at illustrating, I'm always need illustrations for my little books. I'm doing my little pulp books. I could hit you up for
Oh,
some of that too if you're
I'd love to.
interested.
Yeah, I'd be
Yeah,
interested. I consider
yeah. I'm
it,
always looking
yes.
for that. Okay, good. Yeah, but yeah, when I went to art school, I just remember I remember making. We had to do one of the first things we did was in the sculpture class, getting some clay, and you had to sculpt the guy beside you. And so I took it very seriously and did a fairly reasonable likeness of the guy beside me, of my friend,
Nice.
anyways, who was with me in the class. Yeah, and the teacher comes along and he had a spoon and he stuck the spoon, he like tore it in half with the spoon, like peeled one side away and like left the spoon in it, and he goes, "There, perfect."
Oh, what a jerk.
Well, he was trying in his mind. He was trying to break me out of the, what would you say, the shackles of realism or something. He probably thought he's trying to shock me into realizing
I had stuff
it's
like
all
that
it's all about
happen.
making a personal statement and all this shit. Yeah.
I hate that.
And what, you had that happen too? Did you?
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, kind of. Here and there, like comments and stuff like that. My high school art school teacher, he actually. Okay, I was real. I got really good, and I was one of the top students. And there was this project that we were doing where we had to like copy the masters. That's a practice that draftsmen will do to get better at drafting, get better at drawing. And so I said, well, I'd like to do the whole Sistine Chapel ceiling.
What? Really?
Yeah. Yes. And he was like, you
Why?
can't do that.
Yeah,
That's too ambitious.
Well, how long did it take him? How many years did it take him?
And I did it. I actually sketched the whole Sistine Chapel ceiling, with the exception of maybe like one or two panels or something like that, in like 2 weeks. And I grinded so hard. And I actually got so much better at drawing. It was like night and day. So if anybody is listening out there, you want to get really good at drawing, do that. Great study. But what happened was this teacher actually later my junior year said, "Oh, I'm leaving. I'm actually leaving because of you."
What? Why?
Yeah, because I'm not exactly sure, but I think there might have been a little bit of a competitiveness, because he always wanted to be a painter and he wasn't very good at it, to be honest. And man, I must sound like such a jerk, but he literally told me, I'm leaving because of you, and because you're not taking this seriously or something enough. And maybe I wasn't fully. He said, you're very talented and you're not taking this seriously enough. And if I had your skills, I would go do just great things with your skills. And so I appreciated that. But I do think there's the point here, to tie back to what you were saying initially, is that I do feel like these professors have a tendency to try to like knock you down, especially when you're trying to do something, with skill, more representation and stuff.
Yeah. Now, in the case of my example, I don't think so. In fact, I kind of liked that professor, and I'll tell you, yeah, I do believe he wasn't like a genuine creative person, You know what I mean? He was a guy.
Yeah.
He'd actually started out as a carpenter. He was American. He was and I grew up in Canada, so he was teaching at this university in Canada. Because he'd started out building houses, and then at some point he got into being kind of quirky and doing this kind of abstracty stuff to do with building the houses.
Mm-hmm.
And he started out basically as a carpenter, and he didn't start out as a painter or a drawer. So he came into it ass backwards. And well,
Yeah.
as a guy who was not naturally an artist, he was even more and deeply fooled by the whole thing, that it's all about the personal expression and being as crazy and goofy as you can, kind of thing, like the gimmicky stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So I believe he genuinely, and in a way, he was helping me. And if you wanted to be a fine artist, a working fine artist today, you have to do the goofy shit and the crazy gimmicky.
You do.
Dildos and stupid shit, right?
You have to do that. Yes.
Yeah. So in a way, he was helping. He thought he was helping me, and I believe he believed. No, he was a nice guy, and he was just he was nice, but not a true artist, I would say. And in fact, the same guy, I remember later on, before I was leaving, at one point, what did he say? He said he had a little moment. He was telling me about how he'd been smoking hashish in Arabia or something like that. And then he got all quiet, and he was looking around at the art, the students' work, and he goes, "It's all bullshit." And I was like, "Oh, now you're telling me." after I'm in my third year or whatever.
Well, it is a good it's important to go through that process because those are problems that everyone's contending with. You know, post-modernity is a really big issue, and it's really hard at first, with the linguistical tricks and stuff like that, um, to evade their arguments and whatnot. And even in art, I think it's important to go through that so that if you do want to do classical art or more representational art, that you should have an understanding of the problems that we're facing. So despite some of my, some of the issues I had in school, and it was kind of a sad thing, I'm glad that I went through it because now I understand the problem better. I'm sure you feel the same, more or less.
Yeah. Well, I do, yeah, yeah, pretty much, yeah. And we have to go through all that. Like, even after all that and everything I went through there, I was still like a naive kid. I came out of that experience immediately thinking, actually, there's something wrong with me. Like, why am I not? Why can't I get it? Kind of thing.
I had a little bit of that too, but then I quickly realized that wasn't right after I watched. It was Roger Scruton's documentary about why beauty matters.
Right.
Yeah, and I really do. I really do think that documentary is fantastic, and it really clicked in that moment. Also realizing uh, that I had this moment. It was really interesting where I thought, okay, well, I still want to be an artist. Maybe I'll get into music or something, and I'll do things online as opposed to in like the art scene. And I thought, okay, well, um, what does it take, to make it as an artist today? And I realized it's all about the social dynamics. So a Kehinde Wildley is a painter. You know Kehinde Wildley, right? He does painting. He did a painting for Barack Obama with it was not very good. He did his presidential painting. He does black people with like in classical settings, but with ornate backgrounds. So
Okay.
He's a good example of if you want to be a painter, you have to be doing something like that. You have to be a black person who's doing painting in a mawky sort of classical painting manner. So you have
Yeah.
to be degrading like Western tradition, or
Yeah.
you have to be a feminist and then do something like So what I realized is that I didn't have I wasn't gay. I'm not trans.
You weren't gay enough
I'm
for
not
fine art.
I'm not black. I'm
Mm.
I'm a woman, but I'm not a feminist. So I was thinking, well, I can't do anything in the art world. There's no way. Because it's more so about the persona that you have. The
Yeah.
person that is
Yeah.
making the artwork is just as much in consideration as the artwork is currently in the art world.
Yeah. And yeah, my sculpture teacher was right. It's all bullshit. Excuse me. It's hopeless.
Definitely is. He's right.
Yeah, it was absolutely hopeless. And it was all, again, I had a good time in school. I can't complain about that part of it. But I took a practical road then, and I studied like digital art and design. They had an optional thing, and I was able to work in that ever since, at least. But like, so you said a lot of bombastic things about your drawing skills, painting skills.
Yes, I
But
did.
and I would tend to think, oh, many artists say this kind of thing and they're not really that good and all this. But judging by your videos, which I'm obviously been raving about, I mean, you probably are pretty good at that, unless you have a
Thank
disconnect
you.
between how good
Thank you. I
you
still
are and
have to
what.
prove myself, though. Everybody,
Yeah, that's true.
hold your
That's true.
breath.
You do have to.
I
You do have to
still,
improve yourself then.
you
Yeah.
have to. I think if you wanted to, you actually made a really good tweet about how there are people out there who are talking about art and they themselves are not artists themselves. It's kind of a little bit of a problem.
Oh, I was getting annoyed by some of the talk there. Yeah, because there's certain people, and this is not someone who's like naturally my enemy by any means, but I just got annoyed by some. There's a lot of talk from people who you can tell, like that sculpture teacher of mine, are not naturally creative, not artists, that want to have something to say about it. But unless you really have at least really seriously tried one of the mediums, I don't think you really quite get it. You know what I mean?
I agree. I think it's a
Yeah.
pre. I think it's a pre. You have to be able to know what you're talking about by
Yeah.
doing it, be in that trade or having gone to school or something. Not that people can't have an opinion. I actually think it's important that people have an opinion about art and music and stuff like that. Especially now, like we need to shift the way that we're looking at things. But I do think, yeah, to a large degree, you need to show proof. You need to show that you can actually make something creative if you really want to be a part of this discussion in a serious way. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a whole. I think it's because really there's a whole gang of them kind of working backwards, trying to prove another point, which is there's kind of a group on Twitter that are they kind of hate the word tradition. It's become associated with
That's
trad, which
true.
has become annoying because of like because of certain people. It's become
Yes.
hokey and cheesy or whatever, right? But really, you cannot have proper art without some element of tradition. And if you're trying to excise that completely, then you're talking fucking crap. Because the tweet that got me riled up was, what was he saying? He was like, "Oh, you want to sit around painting like 14th century painting all day? That's not going to cut it," or something like that. And I was like, "Fuck you! You've skipped over the whole problem of the falsity of the art speak, the creation of modernism with Greenberg, etc., and the whole like false premise of art that they've invented and landed on us. And there's nothing wrong with 14th century painting or any painting that isn't involved in the sphere of the hoodwink and the lie that has like perverted art into what we have today. So that's what I don't like. I can tell he's not a person who's knows completely what he's talking about, but they're trying to prove another point, which is
Well said.
they want to be like Nietzschean or something, be just live without anything to do with tradition. They just want to throw it out and like, no, we're going to be totally new and radical and everything. But like that's no different than the Dadaists or anybody else like that.
Yeah, yeah, well
Have
said.
to.
Yes, I actually agree with that, and I do appreciate a lot of the people who are in that camp for various reasons, but they do
Oh
rail
yeah,
a little
I'm
too
great
hard
friends with a lot
against.
of them. Yeah, I don't want to. Sorry,
Yeah,
I just want to say I am good friends with most of those people as well. And
but they do
but yeah,
rail against
yeah,
traditional art a little too hard. And don't get me wrong, there's definitely a lot of cringy posters out there that don't understand art and are just kind of like wanting to return and whatnot.
oh,
I
they just post
understand.
like Norman Rockwell church paintings all day
That's
long,
silly.
and like
Kitsch,
yeah,
kitsch is a problem. We understand that. I understand that. But
yeah,
but I couldn't agree more. It's if uh I do have a little bit of a problem with the futurists. I love them, but at the
mm,
same time, I do feel like that whole camp. If you look into uh, um, it's the Italian futurists, and
yeah,
you read kind of like their credo, what they believe, how art should we should move forward with making art. They are like postmodernists. They believe that we should throw all of the things from our past out, just like toss it all in the trash.
yeah.
And Nietzsche largely thinks the same thing too. And what I think is that you're basically throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Not that they don't make good points, but in you know that now is not the time to do that with like the conditions that we find ourselves in the world. Like our identity is being stripped from us, and you can't divorce yourself from the past. You are part of that past whether you like it or not.
Yeah, and even the futurists, to be honest, and Nietzsche certainly, were not completely throw out the past type of people so much as these people are. I don't believe that. I've read Nietzsche and I read the futurists, and I like some futurist stuff even, sort of, But it was like when I think of like a proper modernist in that sense was say what was the poet guy Ezra Pound say? He was pretty good, and he would often give the example of how you cannot you must be linked to your history and be continuing that tradition even if you are extremely innovative and new in a lot of ways. There has to be some link to it, and so he was right
Definitely.
about that, and some those guys understood that. I would not. I'm a big fan of Nietzsche, and sort
There
of
are misconceptions. There is kind of a refurbishing of Nietzsche happening in the
yeah.
dissident right. There
Yeah, it's these
definitely
online Nietzsche
is.
fans. Yeah, they got themselves all hyped up on these ideas, and I just think it's stupid. And I don't. I feel like I just feel like reacting to that. So that's just in regards to that tweet you were talking
Yeah,
about
it
there.
was a great point. It really was. I liked it.
Well, thanks. Well, I've been thinking and talking about this art shit for my whole life ever since I realized I was. I mean, once you yeah, like me, I mean, I was paying all this money to go to school. This is the thing with the porn. This is a big reason I wrote that first book was for art students. Um, just to save them the time that it's going to be exactly the way you expect. It's going to be worse than you expect. It's going to be, you know, because the thing that's hard for people, it's not only, and when you're a kid, you go there and you're like, 19, 20 or whatever, and or younger, 18, even younger, I think, whatever, whatever, you're basically a kid, right? And you're not only expecting certain things, but you cannot. First of all, you can't believe you're being lied to by these adults, these professors, or that they could be brainwashed and that the whole thing could be just a joke and a scam. But on top of it all, you're paying all this horrendous money. You paid all this money to be
Yeah.
here, and it's like all this, and it's all bullshit. It's so hard. That's where a disconnect happens, I think, and it sort of happened for me at the time, where I was just like, I could not conceive of the idea that they were all wrong, and that they would want to trash all of culture this way. And I sort of just,
Yeah.
I did, like I said, for a little while, I assumed something was wrong with me, and I moved on. And I thought, despite all my creativity and my love for art, I thought it's not for me. I must do something else for a while, until I changed my mind and thought about it
Good.
later. Yeah, later on.
Yeah,
How was
my
it for you? But it sounds like you were a bit more steadfast from the start, where you had some idea that maybe because you were younger, maybe there was
yeah.
more, and you had more. Like when I was going, there was not really a proper internet till the end of my school days. Like that's how old I am and how far back I was. So there wasn't like access to information, renegade information.
Yeah, gotcha. Well, I don't know. I was just so into classical art, and I really, I really worked very hard to get, good. And then I could tell that something something definitely wasn't right, because I didn't like the art that I was seeing. And also because I did hang out with a lot of philosophy students, I was aware of what postmodernism was and what the problems were. Uh, and and there is a battleground going on there too, between two different camps of philosophical outlooks. So I think that helped me, hanging out in the philosophy department a little bit. And some of
Yeah.
the people I was hanging out with, at least at the time, were pretty base. So I think that actually helped me understand. Okay, I'm not going to compromise my skills and just throw that all in the garbage, because I can't actually contribute to contemporary art. Like, I realized that. I looked at everything. I was like, okay, well, what can I do? Because I was flustered by it, and it made me so upset. And when I looked at what it is that they wanted me to do, I just thought, okay, I just don't want anything to do with this. This isn't something I would want to be a part of. So yeah, for me, that's what made me realize very quickly that there was something very wrong with them and not so much myself. Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, that's but your average kid who goes into it's not like on top of again the professors and the money they've paid. That's the first time you discover that the entire gears of your culture are pointed in this direction irreversibly and completely.
Yeah.
And if you try to, I remember there was a kid there. I wish I talked to him more at the time or had more sympathy with him, but I could see that he was fighting a totally hopeless fight. But he really wanted to do comics. He wanted to learn about comics, and he would intentionally do when you had to do like a piece for your painting or your whatever. I can't remember the classes now. Your drawing or painting class, whatever. You had to produce a piece, and everyone would stand around and critique it. He would do it like a giant comic, like a comic page and stuff. So he tried to stick to his guns through the whole thing, and the teachers would mock him, and the other postmodern students would mock him, and he wouldn't. He stuck to his guns. I
Good.
remember that. Yeah, it was good, but he couldn't. He was being harassed, and
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. He wanted to. He had his old fashioned ideas. He was going to try and break through with them, but this is also a schooling. Like this is a school in Canada. I grew up in like the boonies in British Columbia in Western
Mm,
Canada. So this is not like a major giant school. I can
yeah.
imagine it's only worse if I'd gone to in New York or someplace. And
Oh, way, way worse.
yeah,
Sam Hyde talks about his experience at RISD, and he said it's just absolutely atrocious.
What did he say about it? I didn't hear this.
Yeah, I mean, he has a similar background to us, and he basically ran into the same issues that we did. He was gifted at drawing and painting, or at least
It's a
drawing.
curse. It's a curse to be gifted a drawing unless you immediately do not ever dream of going to art school.
Yeah, yeah. And my
Otherwise,
friend Ariel Pink has actually a very, very similar art school story. He actually started off as an art student and then ended up becoming a musician, leaving that all behind. So many of us have been burned. And yeah, apparently he's a good draftsman as well.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not many ways to make a living at that, even really nowadays, and more
No.
so than ever now, especially less than ever with the AI stuff and everything else. They've
Oh
like
yeah.
if there's one vocation they hate and have worked for like tirelessly for decades to destroy, it's the visual artist. They
Yeah.
despise it more than anything. And don't I mean it's a cursed vocation. Let's face it.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. It's basically. I mean, I think that a competitiveness, showing off your skills, I think that that can be revitalized to an extent, and I think it should be where people are sculpting and drawing just for the sake of showing off what a human can do. I do think that people like that. Uh, to see people's skills on display and whatnot. But yeah, as far as illustration goes and most of the use of that skill, it's definitely not a good time to be investing your skills in that direction. I mean, you're replaced. Most people don't need you anymore. But also, most art and most of those uses aren't really that great anyway. They're very kitschy or even degenerate. It's just for advertising and whatnot. But for high art, I still think it could be useful in the future.
Well, it's always useful. I mean, it's always real. Say what you've done with your videos is very real. It's you've done a
Thank you.
great personal job. You worked on your own in the darkness and just did it.
Yeah,
And
thank
you'd
you.
say your channel doesn't have like millions of followers, but you should. But for those of us who can find it and say, well, you've done a great job. Like that's just you stuck to your guns. You didn't. I don't see any compromise in it whatsoever. You had a little vision and you saw it through to the end. I think you did very good. Everything part of
Oh,
it,
thank you.
and even acting it yourself and doing all the little. I don't know. It's just a fun. It's just such. I never saw anything like it. Such a funny way to present your show. You're obviously doing the based content or whatever, right? And you're like, but just naively asking the questions and like, oh, what's this? And what's wrong with this? And I don't know. Just
I I
such a
I,
good idea. It was such a
I
good idea,
thought.
and like the music and the little effects and the little video static and everything. It was just perfect.
Well, thank you, thank you. I thought it'd be a good way to disseminate edgy information because during that time when I started the channel up, a bunch of people got removed from YouTube, and I wanted to contribute somehow, and I thought, well, if I actually want to say anything, it's I'm gonna get removed. So how can I go about this in a clever way? And I really like delivering the message to people very subliminally. I think that that's really fun to do that, kind of like in a Kubrick-esque fashion. So that's like
Mm.
actually my biggest inspiration, obviously, in a lot of ways. And David Lynch, of course. I love.
Yeah, I thought it was very Lynchian. It was
Yeah.
with that like harsh light on you, like you're all kind of like you're like really white and I don't know, you have the lipstick and
Ghostly.
everything
Yeah.
and the extreme contrast, I should say. I don't
Yes.
know.
Yes.
Yeah, the whole thing. Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, you did a very good job. So you shouldn't give. I don't think you should. Whatever else you do, I'll check out all the other things you're doing. But that's definitely a forte of yours. So you should not. Well, I don't know. It'd be a great. You should do like a 2 hour special of you as this character, like a film
Yeah,
format.
sure.
You should.
I think I will
If,
continue. Yes, definitely.
you should try and do a Kickstarter for that. I bet you could get something and then like make it worth your while. Maybe no. I would if I like
Maybe. Yeah.
if you could do that much of it on your own as you did, like you should consider it anyways. Because that's like the stuff we end up doing ultimately in the end after we've left school and we've realized we were lied to and it's all horseshit. We both so I do my little books or I do whatever I do. I get by
Mhm.
this way or that way, and you've done these videos like, and we do them exactly our own way, the way we want. And there's no compromise, and we with some confidence we proceed, and I'm sure we're right as well, and that's like objectively right, as well as
Yes.
just doing it confidently and as in an individualistic or subjective way. We are also right, and it's important. And I don't know, like I can't imagine any of those people I went to school with, if any of them actually went into the modern world of fine art, what
No,
kind of
most of
useless
them
crap they are if any of them did any of it. Well, imagine what they're doing. I don't know. Like the galleries have been the same then as they are now. It's just the same stupid fucking. You had a good video there of one. You went to the gallery, and you.
yeah.
I actually hadn't seen the interior of a modern art gallery because I so beyond the idea that I would ever go to one for
Mhm.
a while until I actually watching that video, and I was like, yeah, it's the exact same stupid shit as it was then. Like
It's
just
the same.
yeah.
My
And why
friend
can't they see they're trapped? Sorry, go on.
my friend Ariel Pink actually made a good point recently. He was saying that, and I guess I'm aware of this too, but he reminded me that the art world uh, uh, is really a place where people funnel money and sell. They sell these. It's a marketplace. That's why I think it's better that we are online. And I think it's actually becoming very irrelevant. People don't really go to art galleries and stuff anymore. I still think we should go to art galleries. I mean, that would be great if there was something worth seeing. I'm sure people would show up. But I actually think that, you getting to do what you're doing and me getting to do what I'm doing on our own accord and not through that system. I mean, the the art pieces are basically uh, they're like a piece of real estate, and that really does end up forming and shaping what kind of art does and doesn't get end up getting made. So I don't even think it would be worth it to be a part of it. I just wouldn't want to be a part of that world anyway.
No, yeah. If you're part of the system now, I mean, if you're not like an absurdist fine artist like Tracy Emin or something, somehow doing that shit. I mean, I don't
Yeah,
even know.
awful.
Okay, but if you're even say on the periphery of that, you're doing something corporate, and it's just really, it's even worse in a lot of ways, to be honest. Because I've done that like quite a bit, and it is really stupid. Like you're just
It is.
really bad, really bad. So, but if you're making money, of course, you can always say that if that's your
Fair
priority.
enough. Yeah.
If there's one thing you can say about you and me and what we've done, I mean, we had the similar art school experience, and what we're doing now is that the stuff we're doing now is genuine from our hearts, let's say.
Yes, it is.
And you're right. So it's if maybe it's not as good as, I mean, I think it's pretty good. I think it's great,
Yeah.
but that's a subjective thing. But either way, it's a greater chance of being a truer art, memorable, truer art than anyone's going to get in the corporate world or in the fine art world, right?
Well, yeah, and
Even though we're outcasts and we're not making a lot of money, but we are being completely genuine.
yeah, I agree, and that's the main point there, and I think that that's a good way to look at it, and also, um, Francis Bacon, he was saying that he didn't actually go through the universities. He actually started off working for some advertising company, and he by not going through that system, of course later he was showing his work is actually a lot more unique than anybody who actually had gone through the university system, because you'll notice if you go to a show, for the people who had just graduated, they'll do like an end of the year show. The art all looks identical. So for the most part, people who are making the connections, living in New York, going to art school, and then, thus getting into the galleries, most of the artwork is going to look exactly the same anyway. Like, and of course, if you don't, there are rare exceptions like Francis Bacon, he got to get in, he must have worked really hard to make that happen. But regardless, it's, you have to have those connections by going through the art school. But then, of course, all the artwork is basically going to look the same anyhow. It's
So
the whole
you're
system's stupid.
you're a fan of the Francis Bacon, are you? I would have like. I mean, I know
It's
he was innovative, but he was kind of I
it's
don't know.
degenerate. Listen. That's a controversial one because I do like Francis Bacon work. I
He's
don't
from
think.
here. I've been to his studio here
Oh,
in. Yeah, he's from Dublin. Yeah, would you believe?
you know what? I think I did know that, but here's the thing about him is that his work is mostly, in my opinion, a good like if you want to watch a horror movie, like everybody likes a good horror movie,
Yeah,
right?
I know
It's
what you
kind of
mean.
like
Yeah,
that.
no, he was good at that. Yes, and he was obviously filled with horror,
He
but he
was
was definitely
anymore.
working within that sphere. But maybe yeah, compared to a lot of other people, you could give him credit. Yeah, you can definitely say that he had a certain effectiveness in what he was doing. But like, I would sort of be
Yeah.
very dubious of him at the same time But there's always people that ride the
Same.
line in between the transition from the what we had into what we have now. There was a lot of people that were in between, and it's very hard. That makes it only all the more harder to make a decisive line as to where or what is what to reject or how. But
I think
with
it's
anything,
unhealthy art.
it is
I
under
do think bacon
yeah
is unhealthy art, and I wouldn't want
yeah
that being pushed on like the masses and whatnot. And it's obviously
yeah.
he was a product of modernity, but it's still of like all of the modern painters,
And they
contemporary
say he was a
painters.
pedo too. If
Yeah.
you go to his studio here, they
Was
say that
he?
oh
That kind of
they
doesn't surprise me, to be quite
yeah.
honest.
I
Yeah, now
I,
I
I
like him
recall
less.
I recall there's like these when you go there. This is years ago. I tried to go. I can't remember now, but I seem to have a recollection that they say something like there was stuff that was found here that in his private collections that were very
That's
sinister.
not good. That's not. I
Yeah,
didn't know that. That makes me not really like him
yeah.
at all now.
Like
Because
this is where his horror came from. He was genuinely kind of a
what do
psycho
you
guy.
expect from somebody who makes artwork like that? It's really not. It's not surprising. Which
Yeah,
just goes to show that um, that type of artwork is uh, there is a question here. Like, okay, I watched David Lynch, his
here. Sorry, hold that
Eraserhead.
thought for 1 minute. Hold that
Oh
thought for
yeah.
1 minute. I gotta run to the bathroom really quick. I'll be
Oh
right
yeah, me
back. Okay.
too. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let's take a break
Okay.
and like
Take a
everyone
break.
just sit quietly and wait for us.
Yeah.
Right, I'm back. You fools. You fucking shitbirds. Oh, you're back too. Sorry.
I'm back. Yes.
Okay.
You're fine.
Yeah, I was just
um,
mocking the audience for a minute there.
oh.
Sons of bitches.
Uh,
What were we
yeah.
talking about? Francis Bacon. Well, fuck him. Anyways, fuck that guy.
Well, what
But
I was
he
gonna
was good though.
say.
In a way, he was a good artist, and he did have he did. No one's perfect.
Well, I mean, well, okay. So what I was gonna say is that Francis Bacon's, not Francis Bacon, David Lynch's film Eraserhead
Mm.
is kind of the film version of Francis Bacon work.
He loved
Francis
bacon.
Bacon's
He
work.
loved bacon.
Yeah,
Bacon
and
was his favorite guy.
that makes sense. And I
Is his
actually
favorite.
I actually watched that film recently. I watched it a really long time ago and decided a couple
Eraser.
months ago I would watch it. Yeah. And it occurred to me just, and this might apply to Bacon's work too, that, you know, let's see, how can I say this? The film is about this horrible experience of um, having a kid and dealing with kind of being a succubus. It's actually a really bad message, and he was dealing with his anxiety of that whole predicament of like becoming a dad and not being quite ready and stuff. And I actually think that in a lot of ways art really is like magic, so you're kind of casting a spell on people when it's kind of like a personal diary entry that maybe he shouldn't have made public, making that type of artwork, kind of demoralizing other people in the process. I actually don't think it's a good film for that reason alone, if that makes
It's not his
sense.
best film. It's not his best film. In fact, yeah, David Lynch is a good example of a postmodern artist who is very extremely capable of vanishing up his own ass very easily if he doesn't constrained by. Because his best stuff to me is like Twin Peaks and Dune and Blue Velvet, and
Oh.
everywhere, every movie, every film where he was constrained to a story that didn't allow him to be all Francis Bacon-y and postmodern-y and fucking like I didn't even finish
Yeah.
watching fucking what's the one he filmed on VHS, one of the last ones, Inland Empire. I became bored and I was like, fuck this, fuck you, David Lynch. Even though like I'm the biggest fan of David Lynch.
I love
I'm like,
him. He's great.
I'm one of the few people that like love the Dune he did. Like most people kind of
I've
whine
not
about that one.
seen Dune. That's
Oh my
stupid.
god.
I've never watched it. Maybe I'll watch it tonight.
Oh shit.
No,
Fucking one.
Twin Peaks was fantastic, but
Oh,
man, did it really suffer once he
he
had
was
to
gone.
reveal. Now, spoilers.
Oh yeah. After he he
Spoilers.
left after that. He left after he revealed the killer. He
He
left.
did.
Yeah.
He
He
did,
left.
and it's just so sad because the
Yeah.
the
Oh,
the show literally
tragedy.
just tanks.
Tragedy. Yeah,
So
I totally
sad.
does. Until it gets to the very end again, then it's kind of not bad.
Yeah,
And
it
he
kind
comes
of
back.
picks up. Did he
And
come back at the end?
I didn't. He came back for the last two, I think, and they
Man.
were not bad. Pretty good actually. Yeah. They go to the Black Lodge and those weird guys, the doppelgangers and shit.
Yeah,
No, it was good. I liked it. Yeah,
it
I didn't like
was.
it. I didn't like his revival of it so much when he tried to bring it back and do it.
It wasn't very good.
No, it wasn't. I
No,
didn't. He
I
lost it
don't
by that.
think
He's
it.
really lost it by that point.
Mhm.
Everyone loses it eventually. We will lose it eventually.
Mhm.
I'm old now already. I'm waiting to lose it any day now. Like, but I'm like
Yeah,
actually I'm doing probably the best stuff I've ever done, to be honest.
I think Tarantino was saying that for filmmakers, it's about I think it's about like 55 or so,
Right.
60 that he's noticed filmmakers stop
Well,
doing
everyone's
it.
different. Everyone's different. And in fact, if the odd artist has never did lose it, like Johnny Cash, I don't think ever really lost it. Not really. He always seemed pretty good. Or there's a few.
That makes sense.
What's his name? John Huston. I don't know what age he was made when he made The Man Who Would Be King, but like Jesus Christ, that's a good movie. And he was
Enya
like,
has never lost it. But that's because, Johnny Cash and Enya are actually making something that even somebody who's older can do. I think that's actually the problem.
you know,
It's not,
I drive by
yeah.
I drive by Enya's castle like once a week. She's got a little castle on the coast.
What?
Yeah, it's near where my kid does his.
What?
Yeah,
That is so cool. I love Enya.
she's got like it's like castle with
Wow.
it's a castle on the coast basically. Yeah,
What?
I drive not once a week. Once every couple of weeks I go by.
That's awesome.
Yeah, there's like a boulevard by the coast where like all the fucking Irish celebrities, like her and Bono and all the rest of them, live down this fucking.
Oh,
It's called
sweet.
Docky. Yeah, they all live
Oh,
down there.
cool.
That's all right. Whatever.
Nice.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'd love to see that.
Yeah, one of my kids is like goes to he has a sporting thing down there, so I go by there quite often. But I always say it's her that I know. It's her place I know is because it's like a castle with like a turret that comes
Mhm.
out almost over the road. You have to like drive under part of the castle to go through into this
Oh,
roundabout to go down.
wow.
Yeah, so that's her place.
Yeah, she really
That's
did well.
mm,
She's one
yeah.
of the highest paying female musicians of all time. She's like up there. Weirdly, you wouldn't think so.
Who else did not ever? So it's possible to never lose it. Let's say. Who else? So we got Johnny Cash, John Huston. I said. Like did who's that other director? Was it Hawks? Howard Hawks? He was always good. He would like work. Sam Peckinpah, I think, did good movies
Stanley
until he was
Kubrick.
dead.
Stanley
Stanley
Kubrick
Kubrick.
never
Stanley
lost
Kubrick.
it.
Well, I mean, Eyes Wide Shut was not the greatest, but yeah, pretty good enough. Good
I think
enough.
it was good. Well, okay, the reason why it wasn't the greatest is because after he died of a heart attack, the studio got a hold of his film, and they took out 35 minutes. If I'm remembering correctly, 35 minutes of Eyes Wide Shut was removed, and that's a lot of context. 35 minutes tells you a lot. But yeah,
And you know,
yeah,
he did you ever read he like we shouldn't go into this because it's YouTube, but he said some
yeah.
extremely base things in relation to this. Did you ever see that?
I know, I know. I think I know
Okay,
what
all right.
it's
Okay, all
about.
right.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
yeah.
way too. Yeah, people know
Okay. Yeah,
it's
yeah,
a
yeah.
little
Okay,
too
that's fine.
sketchy for your cast here on YouTube, but
Yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah, I think I know what happened there.
But he was the greatest director of all time. There's no doubt. Kubrick was the greatest director of all
Oh
time.
yeah,
I mean, no
yeah.
one really is better. I mean, let's face it. Let's not be idiots.
Let's not be idiots. Yes, obviously. But
Yeah.
you know who's also great is Francis Ford Coppola. He is
Oh,
up there. Oh my gosh.
oh
I
Jesus, he was good.
uh
Fucking
The Godfather. I know it sounds kind of it's not normie whatsoever. That movie is a masterpiece, and
oh
I think it's great. Yeah, I mean, just
yeah,
practically all of his films. So I don't know about him, his more recent stuff. I think
yeah.
uh,
He yeah.
the next Godfather movie, um, one of the newer versions, I don't think did as well. It wasn't as good.
No, it's sort of like he. See, I don't know if it was because I listened to his what do you call it when the director speaks over the movie to tell you what he was thinking and doing. The
Director.
the whatever you used to get it on the DVDs. You know what I mean though, right?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yes, I can't remember what you call that
So
officially.
I listened to his for The Godfather and The Godfather 2. They're all on YouTube for free. And I went through the whole thing and listened to them, and it was fascinating because I do believe first of all he said some extremely silly liberal things, let's say,
Oh, yeah.
regarding the work, but and it indicated to me why and how he lost it. In fact, because I don't believe he thought those things at the time. I think he was saying it then on the DVD to sound current and to be keep
I've
himself out of trouble.
noticed this.
Right.
I've noticed many artists they lose it once they start getting very, very, very liberal. That
Yeah.
has happened so many times. It's sad to watch
No,
happen.
it accounts for a lot of the ruination of art in that and ruination of like a good artist, a seasoned artist is the times where he's forced to apologize for things he's done. So I remember in both movies there was points like there's extremely un PC parts in both of those movies.
Oh yeah,
And like
very.
so if you listen to the commentary, he's kind of apologizing for like say in the end of Godfather 2, this is where I thought, okay, he's lost it. Is like what was he saying? You know the scene where Paul slams the door on the wife after she's had an abortion? Or at the end of Godfather 2, he's closed the door on her, right?
Yeah,
And it's kind of like it's a two-sided thing where you feel sorry for her, but at the same time, the fucking bitch had an abortion, fuck her.
yeah,
And he's like,
yeah. I agree.
goodbye, right? But he was totally talked that up like, oh, this is just signify that she's completely right, and Michael's such a bastard and he's losing it, and
What he
yeah,
said
yeah,
that?
yeah, this kind of talk.
That's
So I was like,
not the. Oh man,
yeah,
he's
and
really
that was the best part of the
backtracked.
movie. I was like, fuck you. This-
Whoa,
yeah,
I
but
did
no, that
not know this. That's
yeah,
bad.
well, yeah, no, it is bad,
Oh.
but I believe at the time he made it, he was not thinking that. Do you? He made it in what, the
Well,
70s?
yeah.
There's no
Yeah,
way they were thinking.
definitely. It's
There's,
the movie's so based. It's about how uh this guy is trying to keep his family together, and it's about your family and your
yeah,
ancestry and why that's
exactly. Oh,
important. And her
exactly.
having an abortion is her basically saying, I don't like the independence, and you guys are a family that's trying to evade the system.
Yeah,
I don't want to continue your line. And that's supposed
that
to be showing,
stupid fucking Anglo bitch.
yeah, yeah, she's a representation of the modern world. That's what she
Mhm.
is. She's a representation of feminism, of the modern world, and that whole, way
Yeah,
of thinking
she is, yeah.
about things. And he's based, and he wants to, serve his family. The whole thing is just incredible. It's so sad to hear that he just
Well, this isn't a
Yeah.
commentary he made in like 2000s or 2000, so or 2010 maybe even, I don't know, but so I wouldn't trust him to not be cutting his own throat in hindsight, killing himself from his past, because I don't think that's what I would say. In the past, he did not care about that, and that he was just doing the proper dramatic thing for how he felt the character should behave, and it didn't matter. You can make your own moral judgment about what you think of it. It didn't seem to me that she came out of the good guy in that, though. I remember when I watched it, I never
No.
thought that. Did you? I never thought that.
No, no, no. She's definitely not
And you're a
the
woman,
good
so you
guy.
never thought that either. So yeah, she wasn't meant to. The way he talked up is like you're meant to think like, oh, Michael's the bad guy now. He's fully evil now. That's it.
What?
Yeah, yeah.
That's
That's
so messed up. No, no,
yeah.
he's the hero.
I know.
He's the hero. He
Yeah, yeah.
he makes all of the difficult decisions, even him having to get rid of his brother. It's a sad scene, but
Oh,
he
that
realizes
great actor who plays his brother. Yeah, that was in those '70s films. What's his name? Yeah, this Italian guy. He was in The Deer Hunter and that weird looking guy with like.
that he's a weird looking guy, definitely.
But
But
he
yeah,
was a
he's
good.
a good
He was great.
actor.
He was great. Yeah, I saw The Deer
And
Hunter recently too, and that was. I watched it with my eldest son. He had never seen it, and of course, he was utterly compelled by the scene in Vietnam when they're slapping. There was the guy slapping his face, like and he's like "fuck you," and the whole thing. It's a great movie.
yeah, yeah,
That's a good example of a kind of movie that can never be made now, not in your wildest imagination.
oh no.
That
Or
such a
Gone
thing
with
be
the
made.
Wind. Gone with the Wind is considered this is actually one of my favorite films. Not
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, yeah.
okay. Not okay.
Hmm.
They wouldn't make that now. Actually,
Well,
they're starting to take it off shelves and consider it
it's
to be
sympathetic towards the South,
racist.
isn't it? Like it's you couldn't even.
Yeah,
Is
it
that?
is.
Yeah, that's so stupid and terrible. See, that's the thing that really.
Yes.
Well, that's the sort of thing that really irks me is that like besides all the other perils we face, it's actually our own people and our own media, our own cultural barons or whatever, people in charge of us that are self-immolating and destroying our own history. And
Mhm.
we
Well
will tear it
said.
up and destroy it before we won't have to worry about like foreigners invading us and destroying it. We're going to destroy it ourselves.
Yeah, that's the function and the purpose. Actually, critical theory is a really interesting rabbit hole coming from the Frankfurt School in Germany. That ideology ended up making its way to the United States during the World Wars, and it's just such a travesty because that ideology, linguistically, artistically, everything is about breaking down every convention that we have. And so yeah, people are thinking in that way, and it stems from that school of thought. And so even when people are talking about our culture, they talk about it in a demeaning way. I even had somebody I know personally who said that white people don't have culture,
Oh my
which
god!
is absolutely
What did you say?
insane.
What did you say?
I just said that's crazy. I mean, look at the countless
Did you
paintings
do
and
your
art
did you
that
do
we
your
have.
innocent did you do your innocent like eye fluttering you do in your videos? You were like, what?
Probably.
Could you say that again or what?
I just thought it was the most retarded thing I'd ever heard. I mean, just
Well,
what doesn't make any sense. But an American would say that, right? Because Americans
well,
are the least touched by European aesthetics. Because think about it, Europeans they're constantly in contact through the buildings that they see around
well,
them
less and less
with
all the
that
time. I
aesthetic.
can tell you, I live in Europe, and I
That's
can tell
true.
you less and less all the time are they in contact with it, and more are they moving away and trying to forget it.
I'm sure, but in
Yeah.
the United States, there's basically none of that.
Oh,
We all of
Canada as well. Yeah, Canada as well.
our buildings are very utilitarian, and basically there's hardly any indication of what we are, who we are. And buildings, that's the thing that's incredible about a building, as a form of artwork, is that it's a constant reminder. Same with a sculpture that's out like in the town square.
You
You're
know, not only
constantly being
was
reminded of who you are.
it once better, but in every city, even in America, every city was different from the other inside. Because I remember seeing a video interview with who's that guy? Norman Mailer. He was a Jewish guy, but he was good. He was very good. He would often talk about architecture, and he would. I remember him saying that he remembered you would go from like Phoenix to New York. Like this is back in I don't know what 40s or 50s, I guess. I'm not sure.
Hmm.
And the architecture of each city would be different, totally different, and just in cities in America.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe now where they're the same the world over. But even these modern cities in America would have a totally different style. There was like style, Detroit style, New York style, San Francisco style, which you can still kind of see because they made somehow in that city they made so many nice old buildings that are still around for whatever reason. I was there.
Mhm.
I remember being
Yes.
very impressed with San Francisco architecturally. Um,
Yeah,
you know,
California has some spots that actually I went to San Diego and
yeah,
was really
there was a
impressed.
California style. The California had its own kind of deserty Navajo style or something. I don't know what it was, but each place was totally different. Kansas City, whatever, right?
Mhm.
So
Yes.
even in your own history, as you know, utterly postmodern as it seems now, and post art or whatever, even then, the cities themselves, even in their own kind of, there was a variation of Art Deco or something in each one of them that was totally
Definitely.
unique.
Art
And all,
Deco. Yes. Very American Art Deco.
but all that is lost. It's gone now. It's
It's
just
gone.
boxes and glass skyrises and stupid shapes, S curves on the fucking gas station roof. It's like there's your
It's
art. There's
yeah,
your
it's horrible. It's really sad. And yeah, again, if you don't have those constant reminders, you don't remember who you are. And it's sad to hear that in Europe, I've seen it. That was one thing that Roger Scruton talked about a lot was how the London skyline was being destroyed by these cancerous builds on top of beautiful European Gothic buildings. You just have like this monstrosity of like some abstract shape, like cancer developing over top of these beautiful structures, and or just like some monstrosity, like something you'd see in Dubai, some modern uh, uh, glass building pop up, and the skyline is just like ruined. That's what I've
yeah, but
heard.
cancer is sadly a very good term for it because it's more or less is what it is the case.
It is.
They've adopted this ethos towards art, which is like again, this is why it's very important. The I've never been able to successfully get through the message of my book, which was that art was redefined. It never had this definition that before that it has now, and this definition holds sway absolutely over the minds of the average person and certainly the elites, and they cannot conceive of an art that doesn't. Like
Mhm.
every building that goes up, every cancerous building that spreads, like in the way that you're saying, is supported, and they believe they're doing something new and innovative, even though it looks like the same shit that they did 50 years ago. And it's stupid and it's artless and it's ugly, intentionally ugly. The ethos is essentially an intentional ugliness because to be beautiful and traditional is to be, colonial or fascistic or something, right?
It is. It is. It is the art style and the ideology is very anti beauty and promotes ugliness and decay.
Mm.
100%.
That's the core of the notion that exists, and especially so it's translated now into the corporate culture. So the language of business now is to, which are these people, these drones that just do whatever is socially climbable, basically. So
Yes.
the language of business is to work in these buildings that are like this, and there's no stopping it. So in that sense, it is like a cancer. You can say it's lamentable, it's unfortunate, and it's to do with a value system that we could correct. But regardless, the result is a cancerous growth across the globe of this urban sprawl of shit.
Yeah. I'm not so black pilled. I think we can turn it around, but it's going to be a massive effort. I think we can do it. I think people are realizing that there's something wrong, and people don't like it. Nobody likes these buildings. Nobody likes modern art. Nobody gets it, and it's demoralizing them. So I think the public, is starting to feel the itch for something new. People just because that's the other thing is Robert Hughes talks about this a lot. I love Robert Hughes.
Who's Robert
Uh,
Hughes?
Robert Hughes is an art critic. He's fantastic. You'd love him. I think he
Oh,
was
is he
from
the
Australia.
Australian guy?
Yeah, he's
Oh,
Australian.
I do
Yeah,
know him. I do know him. Sorry, yeah, I do know
yeah,
him.
and he was saying that where was I going with that? Sorry,
Oh,
what was I
sorry.
saying? No, you're fine. In the chat, what was I saying?
Architecture, Robert Hughes.
I think I lost. Let's see. What was I going to say about Robert Hughes? It kind of. What were we talking about? We were talking about architecture, and then I forget. Anyway, he's great though. You
better get used to that when you're doing your own podcast. You better get used to that. And
yes, I know.
No, this is exactly what you do.
Ground.
Oh, it is. You got to plan your recovery. So many times, you just like totally lose your train of thought out of the blue, and you just have to have a recovery. You're like, and you've somehow got to get back on some kind of track.
Yeah, I can't
even
remember.
if you derail and go into another subject, because it happens. Because you know what, and part of the reason it happens is because you're worried it's going to happen. Because when you
that's exactly what happened.
Because this is like public speaking, but it's not. We're both at home. We're like, no one's around or whatever, right? But we know that people are watching and are going to listen to it or whatever. And so you got to kind of, when you begin to derail, and you would normally just be like, snap right back into it, the panic of like, that you might forget what you're talking about becomes real, and then you forget what you're talking about.
So you've had this happen before.
Oh, I mean, every single one. I've done, I think in the course of this one, I did it.
I was scared. I was scared coming into this, thinking this would happen, and now it happened. So hopefully it doesn't happen again.
Well, fuck that Australian guy, and who gives a shit?
No. He's great.
He's good. Well, he's not bad. I remember seeing his things. He's not bad. He gives a partial kind of excuse for modernism, and sort of a lukewarmish kind of. He complains a lot, but he doesn't go right to the source, I don't think. And neither does Scruton, frankly.
Nathan's in the chat.
Oh, Nathan. Okay.
Hi.
Who's that?
Nathan.
I blame the agricultural evolution. Yeah. Well, that's someone who doesn't know about art would say that.
Well, I don't know. I mean, culture does mean it. The etymology of the word does. I recently was told, and I looked into, actually tied to agriculture. So I don't know if Nathan's referring to that, but there is something to that, because like
he's making a joke saying we're fuddy duddies, and we want to go back and retrace.
Right, fair enough.
The fact is, we cannot retrace. See, this is the realization I had, was that you cannot go, no matter what, you cannot go back. In fact, my fan of classicism stems from Greek philosophy, and one of the greatest Greek philosophers was Heraclitus, and his famous saying was about change, that you must embrace change. That a man is a man never crosses the same river because it's never the same river, and he's never the same man, or something like that was his famous saying. A clip from the only few quotes we have from him, which is completely true. Like, change is inevitable, and so we've had a bad change, and we have lost art and visual art and things like this. People like us are like left in the void to like do our own thing, but it only means that whatever way it changes from here, it will change again. People that rule the way that we must think about art now will be forced to change again eventually.
I hate change. Change is retarded. Progress is retarded. These words we should just like do away with.
Well,
you change, but what does that really mean? Like think about what they're actually saying.
Well, it's completely. What do you mean? It means everything. Everything will change. Every fucking thing will change.
But that's a given. Like we all know that. But it's what you're like maintaining and holding on to and refurbishing to make to like transform it so it makes sense with what's happening.
I would say you have to keep the eternal truths in. There's a certain eternal truths that are laws of like laid down by the universe or God that you must sort of hold onto, which are beyond the subject of change in a certain sense. I think. I'm not sure, but I think, and it would seem, and so to be wise is to understand that change, you cannot stop change. You can stop change. You can divert change if you're sufficiently powerful enough and have the means. You can control change, but even then,
you can do it.
Maybe,
you can do it. You can definitely do it. But I mean, you can have an effect on the culture by making really good art. Of course, you need somebody to prop it up, money to an extent. But I do think one person.
Well, the only reason you're not famous for your videos is a lack of money, or the fact that you were ultimately you were preaching dissident ideas. So that's why, really.
Having some funding would be nice. I wouldn't lie.
Okay, let me ask you. I want to know this. Being someone who's messed with video myself before, how long did it take you to finish a video? To do a video? I know it took a long time because it was high production value.
I think probably Let's see. Oh no. I hate to think about it. Probably 10
No, I
hours.
know it was a long time because they're good, and because
10
this is
hours,
what
15 hours. Oh,
that's it.
maybe
Dude,
more.
I thought it was
Maybe more.
fucking like we were going to say weeks or something. Jesus, really?
Well, I mean, it's tough to say. I don't want to say it's way more than it actually is. I mean, I can't. I've never timed it, but
You must
there
be
are.
natural at that as well. You must be just like a natural at doing that.
Eventually, I ended up getting better, and see, here's the thing: is when you're working on a video like that, and it may even be much more than that. I just really don't know. I should have timed it or something, but it was really a very long time, a very grueling process that I would lose track of time, and I'd say, okay, well, I'm gonna release this video soon, and then suddenly I realized, wait, I have like 5 more hours to go. 5 more hours comes, and then I have like 4 more hours to go. Just kept going. So I actually don't even really know. It just I know it took forever. Yeah.
And was it something you took extremely seriously, or was it like a throwaway kind of like, oh, I'm goofing around thing?
A little bit of both. I wanted to take it seriously, but there was so much fear. There was so much fear because um, people were getting censored and people were getting removed, and then one of my videos ended up getting like a warning on it. And so with that, when it's not very stable, when you don't have reliability in the platform that you want to post on, it becomes really difficult to invest your time. Like let's say nobody was really watching my videos, like it wasn't really getting a lot of attention, or I wasn't making very much money or making any money at all or anything. um I still just think that it's just not having the reliability of the platform being there for you, and the rug getting pulled out under your feet. Why would you want to make the investment in that platform? Because my videos are basically attached to YouTube. I'm investing in that platform. So that's why I kind of
Right.
want to steer away from that. And I'll still do videos like that on occasion, I think, or something slightly different and more advanced. But solely making art on YouTube is really sketchy. That's why I never fully committed.
Right. All right. So I have a test for you. This is a
Mhm.
test to perform what you soon have to perform as a podcaster, because I am
Oh,
not
let's do it.
I'm not drunk, but I've drank a bottle of wine because
I've had a little to
I-
drink, I will
I'm a
admit.
large middle-aged man, so I have to go to the bathroom again. Is the point? So
Oh,
you
same.
are going to carry the podcast for like
What?
2 minutes, 1 minute,
Well,
sorry, whatever.
what if I'm
I'm gonna
quick? I'll leave and I'll come back really quickly because
what
I gotta go too.
at the same time again? No, there's no way.
I
You're just
do. I do.
oh,
I
I don't
do. I
believe it.
honestly do.
All right, fine. Well, I'm gonna go anyway. So
Okay, I'll be right back.
all right.
Hello. I'm running the podcast right now. How are you guys doing? I'm not seeing anything from you guys. This is very disappointing. Gonna leave me hanging like this? Let's see what you guys are saying. Hi. You guys talking about David Bowie being based? I don't think he was based. I used to really like David Bowie, but I don't think he's based. You guys think he's based? Blood Axis? No. What is that? Should I? Should I listen to Blood Axis? The name sounds a little bit edgelord, though. I have to say.
Right, you fucking sons of bitches.
I held it for a little bit.
Oh,
I got
good
back
girl.
before.
Well
Yeah.
done, well done. So I actually heard you say something about David Bowie. You didn't think he was based?
I don't think he was.
I'm not the hugest fan of David Bowie, but I believe he was a bit based for a little while. In the 70s, he seemed to have been a little bit
Somebody
based.
said that we should drink more. I don't know how far
I'm still
we
drinking.
go.
I'm drinking as we speak. I mean, don't
Oh, what are you
fucking
drinking?
some red wine.
Oh, some red wine. I'm being very much a woman, and I have just a White Claw. Helps to loosen you up a bit, make you not
A
so
white what?
strong.
What is it?
A White Claw.
A White Claw. All right. Yeah.
We're advertising for White Claw right now. Yes.
Well, yeah. Send us some money. Send us some money. But why do you not think David Bowie was based? Oh fuck! I left the door open.
Do you want to go close?
I do not give a shit about the fucking door.
My door's open. I don't care. Okay.
The door outside. Like I went outside to. Anyways, go on.
Oh.
Yes.
Well, you should probably go shut it.
Well, who cares? What's going to happen? A fox is going to walk in the door. Oh, actually, the cat could get out. You're right. I should go. Holy shit! All right, I'll be right back.
Okay, so I'll tell you guys why I don't like David Bowie, and then we can recap when he gets back, I guess, if he wants to know. I think I'd seen him on an MTV interview talking to some guy about music, and he starts getting really upset at the MTV interviewer, saying, "This is David Bowie I'm talking about. Why he's not based." And he starts saying, "Oh well, you guys here on MTV, do you have enough black artists represented?" And
what year was this? Though? What year was this?
Good question. It seemed like it had to have been the late 70s, early 80s, sometime around there, because like the guy had really bad hair. I remember the guy's hair. Not David Bowie. He looked more or less fine, but the guy that was interviewing him had like really bad late 70s, early 80s hair. Kind of like that weird zone where it's kind of in between. So if memory serves, must have been around that time.
I like some of those. You mean like a mullet, like a really closely cropped kind of mullet?
Yes.
Like
yeah, what kind of fro status too? You know?
Okay. Right.
Yeah, like in the middle there, we were transitioning. Okay. So maybe 1990 or so. But yeah, he was saying, "Oh, are you guys gonna have more black people on MTV? You don't represent them nearly enough." And he just was being. It wasn't a simple like, "Hey, maybe we should get more black people, representing more minorities." He was like pissed on behalf of black people, and the interviewer was just like, "What are you talking about? We have like rappers and stuff. Like they were starting to, I think, have rappers on MTV." And he's like,
"Must have been the 80s."
Must have been the 80s then. But yeah, it was. I mean, he's done a bunch of other things. There have been other things too. I know from watching interviews with him that he's definitely.
Well, listen, I can forgive him that kind of talk a little bit because.
Yeah.
Well, in that period, I could, let's say, because he would have been thinking at that time, even if he was politically, as he apparently was in the 70s, politically a certain way, he would have at least believed, I think incorrectly, that he inherited rock and roll from the black community. And there was many in that. This is pre-rap. There was many. No, but before rap, there was a lot of very, very good black artists, honestly, and who I am to this day a great fan of, like Muddy Waters, Curtis Mayfield, and like excellent fucking musicians.
Oh, they were great. Yes,
they were. All right, so in that era, and maybe they were sort of discriminated against a
I'm
little
sure they
bit,
were. I'm
right?
sure.
So you could forgive him in that period of time, let's say, for saying that.
Fair
I would,
enough.
yeah,
Fair enough.
yeah. Where today it's like totally the opposite, and like untalented, black losers, like fucking Cardi B, etc. Like your videos. That was the best one you did. Or like, no, I don't know. There was a lot of good ones. I still have to like watch them all. You
Oh,
really did like a good job. I was like watch them and I was like, fuck,
dude,
you know.
thanks. I really appreciate that.
Like it
But
seems like you took them like offhand. It wasn't a big deal, but like I thought you did like a fucking good job.
oh, thank you.
I remember like,
I really appreciate that.
but like that one, yeah, you're like sitting there and you're looking, just the whole method of like you'd be looking at it and be like, and you look up at the camera and you're like kind of quizzical and you're talking to this computer guy. And who did the computer voice? Because he was perfect as well. Whoever that is.
The person
You can't
who
say
did
probably.
my editing of the
Right.
scripts, who yeah, they're the ones. He doesn't want to be named yet. Hopefully one day he'll come forward, but for right now he wants to stay low key.
So you wrote a script and he would edit it for you and say, "This you should do this and do that."
Yeah. We sometimes we would brainstorm, and I would write the script, and I would hand it to him, and I'd say, "Hey, is this retarded or is this good?" And then we would, he would say, you could word that a little bit better," and then
Because
that would
it's
be
way
it.
better than even people you're referencing that you're supposedly being fan of, like Soph and these people like from like years ago.
Oh
But
yeah.
well, you'd have to be of to appreciate it. Maybe you have to be of a certain type of person or intelligence or whatever. I don't know. I guess that's
Yeah, I like to say my audience is very intelligent. I do think you gotta think in a certain way to get what's going on. I like to think that my audience is smart, for sure.
well, just your commitment to doing it a certain way from start to finish, each one, every
Thank
time.
you. Yeah,
No,
well, and somebody said, I had posted it on 4chan once, shilling my content there because I figured they would like it. And somebody said, "Hey, I really like this gifts person, but she just does the same thing over and over again. I wish she would switch it up." And I
no,
was like,
don't switch it up.
"That's
I want the same
true."
fucking thing every time. And even people I showed, like, so people I showed recently, so I discovered it like 2 days ago. I was like, fuck, this is brilliant. So I showed a bunch of people, and like, every one of them was like, this is amazing. Like, what the hell? Like,
Oh, cool. That makes
they
me
were,
really
every
happy.
one of them was,
I'm
yeah.
so flattered.
A girl I'm actually, a woman I'm interviewing and or I'm talking to, interviewing, as though I'm like a professional. I'm just this guy. This fucking, anyway. That was there was one guy I talked to. What was I talked to a Dutch politician once. What was his name? Terry Baudet. And so I just like randomly, because he was following me on Twitter and like commenting on my post. I was like, "Do you want to do a podcast?" Right?
Cool.
Yeah. So when I got on there, he's like, and the first thing he's asked me like, "Who are you?" And what's this all about? Like, who are you? And I was like, I'm just this guy. I just asked you to appear on the stream. I don't have any credentials to speak of. I'm just fucking whatever,
Well, you seem like someone. The moment you have a microphone, the moment you have a show, people are like, "Whoa."
I don't have. You have more followers on YouTube than I do. I have
But
more.
still, you
I
get
get more
so
followers on other
fast.
platforms, but on YouTube I don't have a lot. Like I don't do well on the
Your
YouTube, but I
account
do it
on
anyway.
Twitter is massive. You have
Yeah,
like over
I
100.
can do those ones. Yeah, I can do those, and Facebook too. I have a lot as well. Or I could, if I did
Wow.
use Instagram, I could probably get a lot on Instagram. Probably if I would use it
Why don't
daily.
you use Instagram?
Hmm? Why don't I?
Why don't you use it? I
I
don't
have an
like
Instagram.
Instagram.
Yeah, I hate it. I just can't stand it. I fucking hate it. Yeah. I hate the Facebook as well. I really hate them. Like I truly hate them.
I don't blame
Sincerely.
you. I hate them too. They're
Yeah.
awful.
Twitter's good. So like I would probably do better to do a Twitter video thing than YouTube. But I mean it doesn't matter to me. I'm only doing this now because I'm over the summer. I'm able to do them late at night. Like as you know, it's quite late at night over here for me, so I can do them. I'm trying to set them
Mhm.
up more and more to do them over this. I'm going to try to do them like basically every couple of nights over the summer,
Oh, nice.
because I can. Because I'm normally just fucking busy all the time. Like but over the summer I'm slightly less busy. So I don't, I'm it doesn't matter. I have a certain audience, certain people follow me on YouTube and they really love it, and that's fine. So I don't get, but yeah, I don't get the same kind of following I would on Twitter, etc.
Hmm.
But
Why do you think that is?
hmm?
Why do you think that is? Just because you don't post frequently enough or something, or
Maybe I'm erratic with it. I was doing it more consistently. I tried to, and I tried to stick to a schedule. Like I would do a video every Wednesday or Friday or something like that. But then it was trouble coming up with content. It was like you had to have something ready for the twice 2 days a week, and I became annoyed by that because um, my time is better spent writing. For me, I've committed to this writing thing, right? I'm doing these books and things, so that's my medium that I'm primarily working in. You did very well with video. You might switch now to no, you're going to do a podcast with Arctos as well. So you're staying in this format, more or less, right? So
yeah.
in fact, I only ever took this to video because I had a patron who was like, I want you to start making videos. He was a fan of my first of the art book,
Mhm.
and he said you should start making videos. So I tried half-assedly ever since to kind of do them or whatever.
Oh.
And I can do them. It's fine, but it's not. I don't. And it basically, I think YouTube is an excellent format.
I love it.
YouTube itself sucks for its censorship, etc. But it is a good platform and format, and if you can gradually, the more you can grow on YouTube, it is, especially for, like, I'm looking for book sales and things like grifting, basically, right?
Yes.
Right. So it does help, even if I'm not so great at it, or it grows slowly. I don't mind. It's fine. I have a certain audience, and they love it, and that's fine with me, I guess.
Oh,
But
I like that.
at the same time, I don't take it very seriously. So I may vanish for like months and do no videos and whatever. Right?
That's what
But
I've been doing, but I plan to really ramp it up. So, fingers crossed. Hope I can do that. I think I'm setting myself up to be able to make a lot more art and content in general, and I'm really excited about it. But yeah, I've never fully taken it completely and entirely seriously, just because of the censorship aspect of the whole thing. But Twitter's really great. I know that Elon Musk. It's kind of questionable what his orientation is and whatnot. But I feel more confident investing uh, my time into social media, and I still consider Twitter to be social media to a degree because of Twitter. I think it's a really good platform. Excuse me, X. I mean, it's also like an awful demonic platform that'll suck you in. So there's
excuse
that.
me, X. Excuse me, X. That reminds me of
X.
like there's a skit by I'm putting this over my headphones. It looks retarded.
Oh, you look like a wizard.
Yeah, how about that? But
Yeah, I like
it
it.
looks stupid. Fucked up. But Norm Macdonald, do you know
Go play
Norm
Norm
Macdonald?
Macdonald. Yeah. I've recently, I've always known about Norm Macdonald, but recently I started paying more attention to him.
He
Uh,
did an interview where he was like talking about to some Canadian, I think, broadcaster, and he was talking about transgenders, and so he brought up Ed Gain, how the famous transgender Ed Gain.
Ed Gein.
Ed Gain.
No, Ed
He's
Gein.
the basis for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh
The
goodness.
Yeah, so
What?
he was like
Yikes.
and also what's that movie? Oh shit. What's the movie with
That was
that
terrifying.
lesbian with Hannibal Lecter?
Oh,
Who
Silence of the Lambs.
Right, yeah. So that was based on Ed Gein. So because he was killing people and taking women's skin and putting them over himself because he wanted to be a woman, right? So
So it was real. It was based off of something real.
yes, Ed Gein. And Norm
Goodness.
Macdonald was giving an interview with a Canadian journalists, and he was saying he was talking about he was like, yes, whenever I think of transgenders, I think of the famous transgender Ed Gein, and he said something like, he went even better. He did even better.
What?
Even better, he said, and whenever I think of all those things that he did, she.
Oh goodness.
And I
Oh,
thought
I didn't need to see
that
that.
was fucking brilliant.
That's
I mean, really,
good.
you have to
Yes.
admit, no?
He's great.
That is brilliant.
Yeah, he's fantastic. I'd like to, dive more into his work. He was based, as far as I can tell, very based.
What, Norm Macdonald? Well, he was just like
Yeah.
a straight shooting Joe, as people say.
Street
But I
shooting.
should probably let you go soon. It's been like an hour and something or other. Yeah. What do you think?
Just as long as you want to go. Like I said, I'm a neat. I can
Oh,
do
okay.
this.
We'll go a bit longer. Okay. What if we
So
not?
it's up to you. It's up to you. I'll let you
Well, I don't give a shit.
carry
I
it
don't
out
give
as
a
you
fuck. I
want.
mean, what the fuck do I care? So, look, you don't. You're not the way I thought you would be. You're very like normal, and especially in regards whenever I try to praise your videos, you're just like, whatever. I just did this. I really do think you did an exceptional. I don't understand. I thought you'd be weirder.
I think I am weirder than I let on.
Is
But
that
I
it?
just am trying to be. I'm doing my best to be very normal for you and everybody here.
Boy, why would you bother? But no, I
No,
understand.
I'm being genuine. I'm being
No, but
genuine.
you're and like obviously intelligent, so you know exactly what to do when you have to do it. So that's fine. But
Thank
like
you.
you really did do a good artistic job in those videos. That's all I can say. Even
Oh,
if it
thank
was
you.
like, unless I like, maybe there's a whole like movement. It's something else you were following or imitating that I was never aware of or something. But I thought it was very original and well done. And I've
Oh,
said this
thank
now. I don't know how many times in this. Fuck, I gotta
you.
stop saying this. But
I think I think that they were good. I'm proud of them. I would like to continue doing something along the lines of what I was doing. Uh, but yeah, people really seem to appreciate them. People really really like them. They really resonated with people, and I think it made people feel really good, even though they were kind of weird. They were kind of odd. Uh, there's so much
well, the
insanity.
weirdness was the good part. The weirdness was the good part. It was
That's the
just
good part.
yeah,
Yes, I agree.
they were pretty weird. But so when you were done art school, what did you do then?
Oh man.
You worked as a hooker.
Huh?
No, just joking.
What'd you say though? What was the joke?
I said you worked as a hooker.
No, God. No, I just basically became even more of I just became an outcast. I just like
What?
went into my shell and was like, what is going on in the world? Because it was also disturbing, seeing the state of the world. So I leave art school because it's an awful experience. My dreams are kind of smushed. And then the next thing that happens is, shortly thereafter, I go back and I decide to live with my parents and leave art school. Then I see like the stuff happening with Ferguson, and feminism is really kicking off. And I mean, just
Well,
basically being
Ferguson. What was
disturbed.
Ferguson? What's Ferguson? I don't even remember.
Yeah, so Ferguson was there were riots. I can't even remember at this point. Somebody who was who was black got shot, and it was a
Oh,
big
that was
deal.
it. Yeah.
And then you couldn't like it was. I think I actually had to pass through like around Ferguson during the time because I was traveling to the United States, and my parents were like, "Don't go there." Do not go to Ferguson. So yeah, there were riots and people were taken to the streets on behalf of this black guy who was definitely probably a criminal and well, most certainly if I remember. But anyway, it kicked off a lot of things, and there was like Gamergate going on YouTube, and so I just kind of got sucked into that world. And I was kind of processing reality because after you get out of art school and they tell you, oh well, art is all about the ideas instead of the skill. Well, now my emphasis was on, okay, maybe they have a point, and I need to focus on my the meaning of my work, which is really good. I'm happy that I did that, but but yeah, in doing that, I first had to kind of like see politically what was going on. So when 2016 happened, I mean, I'm sure like yourself, that's when I really like my eyes I was opened up to basically exactly what was happening. So I basically was just processing the world, just trying to figure out what the heck was going on, honestly.
Is that when you started the videos? 2016?
No, I think I started them late 2017. I think. I
Oh.
think that was it. Maybe early 2018. You look like a Sith Lord.
Oh, don't say that. Do not say that.
You do.
Well, I mean,
It's cool. I like it. Let's
it's all right.
This should be your aesthetic. Like if you
It
did
is my
this,
aesthetic. I wear this every time I do a podcast.
you do.
Usually. I used to when I was
Well,
out in
you
the
should
shed.
start like this. That's how
I
you should
do.
do
I
it.
usually do. I did all the time. The bracers and the fucking
And the
hood with the whole.
bracers.
Yeah, it was all.
Oh.
And I would be out in my work shed, and see, the thing that stopped all that is that my internet stopped working in the work shed for some reason. So now I'm inside, and this is why I have to do it at this ungodly hours inside when my family's gone to bed,
Oh,
my kids
no.
and the wife and everybody's gone to bed. So I'm downstairs and dressing my shit, right? But before, normally in my videos, I would wear this shit and I'd be out in the dungeon, out in my fucking work shit I built.
But you don't walk around like this normally? Like you never go out in public in this attire?
No. But normally I would do this. I'd wear this shit when I do these things. And just like,
What a travesty that you can't just go out in public looking awesome like you are right now.
Well, I could. I mean, I have before. Let's say
you have done it.
Well, I've done many things.
Wow.
I've done many things. I can tell you, you want to hear about the most? Have you ever done acid?
Have I ever done? No, I have not. Whoa. No, I have not done acid. But I know people who have done acid, and it made me realize I shouldn't do acid.
Yeah, probably.
But for you gonna admit here on the stream? Maybe you shouldn't say that.
I've admitted it before, I'm sure. It's been a long time, maybe, since I talked about it. But yeah, I did like years ago. But I used to. I remember once I mean, in terms of going out in public, bizarrely or anything like that, that was see, acid and mushrooms. In fact, it relates back ultimately to Greek tradition, would you believe, in the Eleusinian mysteries. Certainly, they've proven now that in those days, if you were a citizen of ancient Greece, the age of Socrates and Plutarch and everybody else, you would gather up at one point, get naked with all your community members, and take the equivalent of acid or mushrooms.
Wait, but I thought they did that with mead, and it was like the Dionysian festival.
No, this is the Eleusinian mysteries in ancient Greece. Yes.
Whoa, interesting.
Look it up, Eleusinian mysteries. And you were not only took all this and you did all this, but you were then the mysteries were told to you, and we've lost the mysteries. What? We don't know what they were.
Yes, Lot was lost.
Yeah, the Christians destroyed them, and it's gone. Mm-hmm. But it was a rite of passage for every citizen to do this.
Was it?
So
whoa! Can you imagine living in that society? Wait, but maybe it was just for the upper class. Was it everybody?
I don't know that part.
Because they say democracy, was for everybody.
No, yeah, it probably was not for the slaves. Yeah, probably not for the slaves. Probably not.
Probably only the elite.
Probably not. Yeah, but I mean, who cares? That's fine. As far as it goes, there's always a strata. There's always a strata of hierarchy. And if you're going to be
always, yes,
there always is. It's true. And there's no avoiding it. In fact, in those days, it was more honest. And there was a social mobility from slavery to nobility back then. But now there's not, because where democracy is ruled by the hidden oligarch who you never see, is never held accountable. He's some wealthy guy.
That's the worst part about this is that, it's actually genius on their part that, before you could just chop off, I shouldn't say that on YouTube. You could get rid of, the king or the queen. You knew who they were, but now it's hidden. It's absolutely genius because like the puppets that are in front of you, who, I mean, nobody's gonna go after.
They pretend they dance some politician in front of you, and they pretend he's good. Yeah, but he's not. And everyone knows he's not.
everyone
You know?
knows. They're like, oh, well, that guy's not really in control, but like, who is? And then
Yeah,
if
exactly.
nothing happens, it's absolutely genius and
Mm,
horrible for us, obviously. Absolutely
yeah,
terrible.
that is the root of democracy. But
Yeah.
in terms of why I said, did you ever do acid? That's why. But you never have. But that's fine. I don't remember what my point was with it. What was I
Oh,
going to say about it? Well, I did think so.
do you think I would? Were you thinking I had taken acid because my videos were so trippy?
No,
Weird.
nothing like that. No. I
Okay.
wasn't.
Okay.
I think you'd asked me something, and I thought of that for some reason. But it was a big part of when I was young that I did take acid, and I don't know. I think we're talking about public behavior or something. Is what made me think of it.
Oh,
'Cause
yes.
something like that, and I was
And then
like,
you were talking about embracing, well, how the Greeks, you know, this
oh,
rite
I
of
don't remember.
passage.
I don't remember how I got into it or why, but yeah.
Oh no, the same thing happened to you.
What?
Once a podcast, you say that it happens where you totally lose your train of thought.
Yeah,
So I
exactly.
got you
It
too.
happened again. You're right. It's right. It's true. Why was I talking about acid? God knows why I would
Yeah,
be
I was
talking about that.
wondering. I was so curious to know where you were going to take it to.
Yeah,
I
no
was like,
shit.
oh,
Why?
interesting.
Yeah, but you asked me so many questions in between. I became totally
Sorry.
distracted by whatever the hell my point was. But okay, so the main point was probably some. Okay, see if this makes any sense as to what I might have been saying.
Mm.
Because when I did, there was one time I totally had a party at my house. It was all these people, like a lot of people, and I took a lot of acid, and I completely
Oh.
flipped out and like punched out some windows and ended up getting arrested by the cops
Whoa.
and yeah, thrown in the drunk tank. And I thought I was in hell, and I didn't. Yeah, because I was. Yeah, I did. I for real. I can remember. I can remember what it's like to think I was now, to like see the walls moving around me and thinking for real that I'm never going to get out. That's it.
Whoa. See,
And
that's what people told me, stuff like that. And I was like, I wasn't really that interested. I mean,
well,
you have
it
a little
wouldn't
bit
have
of
been.
curiosity, but I was like,
Well, no.
what?
Mostly it was positive, and to be honest, I don't regret most of my experience on acid. I do not,
Mm.
and even that, in a way, was because it turned out to not be true and couldn't be true. That reality is so much easier ever since. There's nothing can happen that could be worse.
Wow.
Nothing could possibly happen that could be worse than that, could it?
That's a good wow. Wow, that's a really good way to look at it. Some people it absolutely destroys. Yeah,
Yeah, like
so you did
Sid Barrett
well.
and people. Well,
Sid Barrett,
whatever.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
Sid Barrett just totally got wrecked by
or
drugs.
various drugs. Yeah, but
Yeah,
it's not
poor
like
guy.
an addictive drug. Like I've never done like cocaine or heroin or any of that shit.
That's good. Glad to
Or
hear that, nor have I.
but I mean, why the
Nor
fuck am I even
have
talking about this? Jesus Christ, why would I be talking about this shit?
I.
That's garbage to be talking about personal. It's supposed to be like witness my interviewing skills once more. I've got to guess. I'm talking about myself and like some idiot fucking story from when I was a teenager. Jesus Christ, we've been
No, it's
asking you
fun.
about like whatever, right? So maybe we should. Maybe this is a sign we should close it down soon. But what else can I ask you? What else have I not asked you that you would like to say about yourself?
Hmm.
Anything?
Hmm. I don't think so. I mean, I think this went really well. Even the part about acid. I liked hearing about it. I thought it was great.
Oh well, it was great.
It was
I
fun.
mean,
Yes.
overall, it was a very positive. I mean, that was not positive. I remember being in the cell. I remember yelling out the doors of the cell, like, "Where am I?" You know, and this was the main thing
What?
with the officer that had put me in listen to this. The officer that put me in the cell. I still remember this. He had a mustache, and he locked the doors. And I said, "Where am I?" Because it was like I was on this weird trip where I could not. I was only cognizant for parts of it. Other parts were like a weird dream. Like before they arrested me, I all I remember was doing was standing in a room, trying to look over my shoulder the whole time, as though someone was talking to me, and like there was a
Mhm.
voice over my shoulder. So I walked around in circles in a room, trying to find this person that kept talking to me. And then, but I did some destructive things around the house. I punched out a window and did some other shit. And so my roommates called the cops, and I got arrested. And when they were locking me in the cell, I said, "Where am I?" And the guy goes, "Where do you think you are?" And I remember that's all he said. And I was like, what?
Whoa.
Because really at that
Oh
point, it was a point. It was like your
no.
videos. It was like your videos. It was a point of total naivety. I was literally saying, where am I? Like, I had no idea where I
That's
was, how I got.
sad.
Yeah, I had
But
no
you
idea.
didn't get in trouble, right? Did you get in a lot of
Oh,
trouble? I
it
mean,
was just like the drunk tank. They let me out in the morning, and they were like, "Here you go." I was like, "Oh, excellent."
wow.
I was like, "Oh, great." So it's not hell. I can just walk out, and then it was like, okay, so that was all a delusion, and
Or
but
was it? Or maybe that was reality. Because don't we kind of live now?
well, what did I do to deserve that? Really, if that was, if someone's going to organize and maintain a hell, for someone who I was
What did
otherwise.
it look like? Like, what about
I've
it
always
made
been
it
pretty
hell?
good as far as I can. I may be evil in the eyes of the establishment, but as far as I'm concerned, I've always been doing good, and I've always been a pretty good person. Really, I do
Yeah.
think.
But what made it hell? What was it
Because
like, horns and
it
like
was like no, it
pitchforks?
was like the height of the trip was like a total feverish dream. I don't remember punching out a window exactly. I remember
Mm,
thinking it was raining brightly colored paint everywhere all the time.
mm.
I could catch it and feel it and all this.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
yeah, stuff like that. I remember these little feverish kind of snippets of memory. And then I remember being in the cell and the walls were moving. And I couldn't remember how I got in a cell or why or how. But I was coming back to my senses. My only assumption at the time was that I had died.
Oh, whoa.
That's the only thing I could think of.
So did you experience like an ego trip? I mean, an ego death. Sorry.
I remember sitting down and thinking, okay, so I'm completely fucked forever,
Oh no,
and
that's
trying
so
to cope.
sad.
I remember well. Yeah. This is
That's
the part
sad.
that people don't understand. Maybe when I try to explain something, how the depth of the despair that was experienced by accident, just by forgetting where I was and being tripping out and being arrested because I was destroying that. I punched out a window, and I think I broke. I think I'd grabbed a bunch of plates and thrown them like frisbees at the
Whoa.
wall. Oh, you know what? You know what else I did? I apparently had what did I do? I did something with some girl. Like I grabbed her and like picked her up in the air or something. Or I will say that
Oh.
afterwards, I ended up going out with this girl, and it was like fun.
Oh.
Yeah, apparently she loved it or whatever. I don't know, but I ended up,
You made a good impression.
at some later date, I ended up going out with this girl.
Maybe
But
it was that you went to jail and she was like, "That's really cool."
I don't know. But
Was it the trip or was it the jail?
I
Yeah.
don't know, but I did something with her. I don't remember what it was. Something stupid. I think I like picked her up and then I started moaning and threw myself into a bush or something stupid. Oh, you know what I did was really funny. I went to there was a convenience store across the road, and a couple friends went. They were like, he went to the convenience store, and so they went across with me. So I'd taken this. I can't believe I'm relating the details of the shit right now. Like what? Of this ancient story. But anyways, I went across to this convenience store and I put out my arms and walked down the aisle, like knocking everything off the shelf and like walking towards the person behind the counter. This is why I got arrested, I think, is because I did this.
Oh.
Yeah, this was it.
Yeah.
Right. And yeah, so I did that. And then I got arrested.
Oh man.
Anyways,
Yeah,
the
that
rest of
kind of
it.
makes sense now. Yeah, because somebody in the chat was saying, your friends called the cops during a bad trip. You need new friends. I mean,
Yeah, no. I
that
heard,
kind of
yeah. No, go on.
we won't get into that. We don't need to get into that. But I mean, if you were acting truly, if you were being a little too rowdy, maybe they couldn't do anything. And they're like, we just gotta call the cops.
I was too ready. So I went into the infinitesimal details of that. But that's good. And this is supposed to be an interview about you.
I loved
talking about
it.
you and your.
Thank you. It was very entertaining, honestly.
Yeah. Well, that's how it happened, and that's how I thought I was in hell for a while, and I turned out I wasn't.
Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad that you came back and that you didn't end up in the
Me too.
loony bin afterwards.
Yeah, me too. No, it was good. And look there, the loony bin. Obviously, people end up in the loony bin.
It can happen from a bad trip.
But still, there's people you can tell that never did hallucinogens and who have not had their boundaries exploded and exposed.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not really into Terrence McKenna. Or I mean, maybe like I could like him, but there is that Jung quote about not how does it go? I always forget it. It's something like information that you didn't earn, and so drugs are sort of kind of like a hack. It's kind of like a cheat code to achieving what like a yogi or something, a Buddhist monk might through like years of meditation. So
But it's a legitimate hack, though. I think,
I think it is a
and
legitimate hack. Yeah.
as reality cannot compare to when your mind is fixed upon in that weird way. I think
Yeah,
when you
definitely.
can when you can physically hallucinate, and like apparently DMT is the ultimate one to take, and like Joe Rogan's always on about that, and I believe him, to be honest.
Always,
And
yeah.
I never got to do DMT. I have some friends who did. I have one friend in particular who had an experience on it. He explained to me, and it sounds very much like they say that acid, if acid opens the door to another world, DMT is the one that pushes you through into the world, and you
Oh, interesting.
try and cope with it. But the mass hallucination everyone gets on DMT is that there's machine elves,
Yes, I'm aware.
little
I've
elves
heard
behind the
this.
scene making the world work, which is hilarious
Yeah, that's
and
weird.
seems to
Well,
be entirely.
it's weird that that particular drug has that effect and that everybody has that same encounter more or less. That's so strange. I don't even know what that would mean. I figure it means something like you're reconnecting with your ancestors or something. Maybe people of European descent are the ones who experience these machine elves.
Yes.
I don't know.
Here, I'll be back in 1 second. I have to get
Yeah.
something quick.
Hopefully he's shutting the door. Let's see what you guys are saying. I think this was great too. Thanks for joining us, guys. She seems like a very cool girl. Thank you. We're lucky to have her on our side. Thank you so much, Western man. I appreciate that. It could have been Buffalo Bill that movie was about. I was kind of wondering that myself. That's a grim topic. Maybe we should talk about that. Let's see. Oh, Nathan left. How sad. Nathan is great. Nathan Hood, awesome guy. I did a Wagner day with him and about mythos and stuff on his channel. He's great.
Like unlike the other times, you actually were filling the void there. You actually were talking. Yes.
I was.
Well done.
Yes. Thank you. This is a practice round for the cast.
Well, who do you know who you're going to interview on that Arctos thing?
I'm sorry.
Do you know who you're going to be talking to on that Arctos? I mean, it'd be probably very, very intellectual, serious people.
I don't know. A little bit of mix of both. I think it'll be fun, but also serious all at the same time.
And will they know who you? They won't know who you are or anything about your little funny videos with your David Lynchian.
They may or they may not. I don't know. I don't really know what's going to happen. I'm just rolling with it. I'm just going to do it.
Well, what do they ask you to do? Just do a podcast and.
Yeah, just to basically that like I've come to meet a lot of really nice people doing this, and people who are I think very cutting edge with their understanding of the problems that we're facing, and then just like great artists. I like to interview and stuff. So I think this is a great meeting. Honestly.
Who would you interview then as a great artist? Let me ask.
So there's Fen, the sculptor Fen. You know Fen?
Oh, Fen Villiers, is it?
Yeah, I'd love to have him on at some point.
Yeah,
there's
he's kind of a futurist. He's kind of a futurist, though, isn't he? Is he not?
He is, but I still think it's it makes sense why somebody would be attracted to futurism, even though I don't think that that's the right path forward. I still think it's an intriguing first start. Did you see that they had that show in London?
Um, who?
Fen and I forget his friend's name. It's something Stoat. Uh,
Oh, that guy. Really?
yeah, yeah, they both
Really?
did a show in London,
No, I didn't
and
see that. I
yeah, it
must see.
got a
I
little
must.
bit of buzz. They did a good
Yeah.
job with it.
And were
Yeah,
they Buzz? Were they famous for being, politically incorrect?
yeah. I mean,
As it were?
kind of. They were trying. You know, the art wasn't really that edgy, but still, just like the statement of making something that's positive and uplifting and vitalistic, and that was kind of their angle. It you know it I think it inspired people, and I think it's a really good first step because we're not represented. We're not allowed to have shows like that. Like they, I hope it happens again. I'm hoping I can contribute next year if possible.
Well, it contributed what? Drawings or paintings or
Yeah, drawings and paintings. Fingers
arrangements?
crossed. Yeah.
Yeah. See, I don't. I'm happy relegating my talents specifically to the pulp sphere and the and what would have been formerly or recently called commercial art. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm happy doing that. But yeah, I know that's great. One of the guys that does a lot of the illustrations in my book is a big follower and fan of Stoat, and like
That's
a
just great.
sort of an acolyte in drawing wise of Stoat.
Ah, yes.
And
Yeah. Yeah. He's fantastic.
yeah, he's pretty good. Yeah, he's pretty good. He has some funny ideas, but he's good overall. Very good. In fact, I wish he would do more landscapes. I've seen some landscapes he did that were absolutely incredible, like
Yeah.
better than I could do.
Yeah.
But
He's really good.
he's very much into doing and
Figures. He
that
does lots of
yeah,
figures.
figures and anatomies and figures. Yeah, he's very much into that, and he's good at it. Yeah, as well. But Jesus Christ, I'm pretty sure that was him that did some. I saw somebody on there on the Twitter, anyways, that was doing landscapes. I'm pretty sure it was him. That was like, fuck, you should be
Yeah.
doing that.
Yeah, he's been doing some really good ones. I think there was one that was what was it? It was like called the Wild Boar Hunt or something. That one was good, and it got quite a bit of attention when he posted it. But yeah, he's good at painting, and he's especially good at drawing. He's very good draftsman.
Yeah. So was this guy that actually does drawings for me as well. There's a lot of good people that are talented and out there, but most of them are doing other things for actual money or work, and they, it's a hobby for them.
Well, yeah,
And
that's what's unfortunate is that the left, they really do have all the artists, and there really aren't that many people in our sphere. But I think it's just encouraging when they did this show. I think that's a first good step to
where was the
encourage other
show? It
people.
was on it. Was it on it at a big gallery or a small
It
gallery?
wasn't a big gallery, but I mean, it was in a gallery in the center of London, is my understanding, and they had um, a few. Let's see, it was Sargon of Akkad, formerly known. One of his people from his new his new event. I mean, his
Oh,
new the thing that
okay.
he's on, like Lotus Eaters. I think some of those people actually showed up to the event, which was really cool, and they were
Really?
talking about it. Yeah, yeah. So I think it's just encouraging.
So speaking of, I probably know the guy that put on the event. To be honest, I
Oh,
think
really?
maybe because I know the guy that puts on all such things in London,
Oh, can you
and
say, or is that not something you can say?
he was here recently over the summer. He's an Irish guy actually,
Oh,
but he
and
lives in.
a lot of people that are in these circles are either in Canada or they're in Ireland and England and whatnot. It's weird.
Is it
There's not
Canada?
many
Who's in
Americans.
Canada? Who's in Canada? That would.
Just, I mean, Geo's in Canada.
All right, he's in
Most
Toronto or something like that.
There's
Okay.
a lot. It's shocking how many people in dissident rights circles I talk to, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm from Canada." And I don't want to dox people's locations, so I don't want to exactly say. I think geo is like very obvious, but you'd be surprised at how many people are. There aren't that many Americans.
Oh, there's a lot of Americans. and
No,
specifically,
but
even I find a lot of them are New Yorkers. Like the really hardcore ones are New Yorkers.
Endeavor. Somebody
Is it?
mentioned Endeavor, so it's known. Yes, Endeavor is. Are you talking about Endeavor? I hope I didn't just talk
This
to
is
the.
another
I think
thing I
people
know.
know he's in Canada.
This is another thing I noticed from your videos is you're very in tune into all the various creators. This was in your video
Yeah.
too. Yeah, you're like, oh, there's this famous transsexual. I don't remember his fucking name now, but and there's so and so. And how is
Soph.
this relate? You
Yeah.
would you would mention all these people
Or not
in your
Soph.
videos.
Sophie.
Right.
Yeah.
So that only added to the weirdness of the videos because you seem like this innocent internet viewer person, but you happen to have heard of all these people.
Yeah. It kind of doesn't make sense now that you think about it.
Well, it does. Maybe even back then, because it's like 2 years old now. See, I didn't realize when I was watching them that it was like 2 years old and a year old, and you're done with it and you're moving on, which still fucking breaks my heart.
Not
But
fully, not fully, but I'm just saying I'm revising, and it's gonna be even better. What I'm doing is gonna be awesome. You will like it.
yeah,
I think so. I think it'll be
okay,
even better. Honestly, I'm
okay, good.
telling you guys. I think. Fingers crossed.
Well, I certainly have faith in you because you proved yourself in those things. I thought those were
Oh, thank
very,
you.
very good. Well done. Well, again, I've said
That
how
is
many
a
times?
high bar. That is a high bar. Maybe I shouldn't have said that out loud.
Well,
Thank you. I appreciate it.
you won't have the time to spend on them. Like you won't have like several months to spend on each one, obviously, right? So you won't have the
No.
time to put into the weirdness of the production and all the music and the effects and everything is what really I think made those stand out was the weirdness of the effort that was put into them. That
Yeah.
but you won't be. But that's exactly what you're saying. You cannot do in going forward, right?
I can put the effort in. It's just I kind of have to decide. Okay, is this worth putting the effort into? And so that's why I like to do something slightly more serious. Yeah. Thank you, AJ. I appreciate that.
AJ.
Yeah.
AJ writes for me in AJ on.
Oh, I've seen AJ around a lot. Yeah,
He's a great
a
writer.
lot of
Yeah,
these people. A lot of these people are they're great. Been around for years. Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming. But yeah, yeah, I do like making those videos, and I might do something along the lines of what I was doing before, but I just want to do something that's a little bit more, I think, worth putting all that effort into.
yeah. See, that's the thing, isn't it? That is, you said it right there. So you didn't get the value back out of what you put into it. Really?
I think I did, and I kind of just feel a little bit done with it because it can't really think about it. It can't really go anywhere else unless I transform it a little bit.
Well, it could go anywhere else. What do you mean? Like, I'm not joking when I say I would watch a 2-hour film of you doing that stupid shit with the computer and the fucking.
Really?
Well, if as long as you kept the oddball shit that you were doing going for 2 hours,
Sweet.
which you could probably do.
I could do.
Would, yeah.
I think I will do. I think that's what I'm saying is I'm trying to want to extend what I was doing. Like kind of I like saying that I'm ending it isn't necessarily what's happening. I think I would just want to continue it and make it better. I think that's what's going on. But I'm still working it out.
Well, I mean, to do stuff like a podcast, like you're doing now, so you're going to interview people. Is that what you're going to do?
I think it's going to be more debate style, kind of,
Really? So you're going to have someone on say, "You're wrong. Fuck you."
Yeah, I think so.
Are you really?
A little bit. I think.
Okay, try to debate me. Okay, think of something about me you disagree with and debate me right now.
Whoa. Okay. Well, I like you. I think you're cool. I like your posts and everything. And
yeah, but there must be something that you disagree with, right?
you know what I disagree with? I disagree with the fact that you're not wearing the hoodie right now. What the heck is up with that? Why'd you take it off? Now you don't look as much like a wizard anymore because I could see your headphones.
Yeah, it's the fucking headphones. Because normally I don't have the headphones because I'm out in the shed. I don't have to worry about fucking keeping quiet for the sleeping kids and everybody else, right?
You know what? I'll be right back. I actually have to go real fast. Nature's calling.
Well, unlike you, I can keep this fucking thing going in your.
Okay, you entertain them.
I'll entertain by insulting the shit out of those fuckers. They're cocksuckers. I don't give a shit about those fucking sons of bitches. What tiny few of you are remaining, like 5 or 10 maybe, that are actually still fucking watching this thing. I mean, fuck you. Tell them the Beamish is better than Guinness. I'm not drinking Guinness. I'm drinking wine. Don't drink fucking Guinness unless I have to. I mean, I like it. It's fine. Guinness is heavy. It's like a meal. You wouldn't drink Guinness if you're like. I mean, I could if I had to, but fuck that. And fuck you. How about that? You know, if there's one thing I can't stand is a fucking audience. That's the spirit. Andrew Jackson. Is that the Andrew Jackson from Twitter that has a reasonable following? One never knows. So what do you think of my acid story? I mean, really, I've told it before, but it was very impactful in my life. It really was a big deal. But even still, I do not decry the use of psychedelics. Because as traumatic as it was, just like I said, I mean it when I say that nothing could ever be as bad as thinking you're really in hell, unless hell really exists. And I doubt it does. Because what did I do then? And what have I done since to deserve being in hell? I'm not a fucking serial killer. I actually have sacrificed a lot to, like, sort of crusade in a funny way about fucking things I think are right or whatever. You know? Like, what? Me go to hell? Why? Fuck you. How fucking retarded would that be? That would be a retarded system run by retarded gods. But the more likely system of reincarnation, I mean, let's be frank, the more likely system of reincarnation involves not quite hell-like situations, but situations where you have to be like a worm squirming at the bottom of the ocean for like fucking, you know, thousands of years or something. Oh, she's back.
I'm back. It's late. Time to drink and fight. I think I've drank enough for tonight.
You've had enough, have you?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, one is good enough.
One. Was that it?
One is good
Was
enough.
that it? Was that? I know. Like, I
And I don't have any more. So even if I wanted more, maybe that's a cope. You know, I'm just accepting my fate. That's all that I have.
Well, you know, it was great to talk to you, and
yeah, it was great talking to you. Thank you for having me on. It was very lovely. It was a nice chat.
Was there anything about your art school experience you wanted to say that we didn't cover? Anything about that? No.
No, I think more or less. I think we covered things without having to go too much longer. I think we covered the bases.
All right. Yeah, I agree. There can't be much more that we could say about it. I fucking gushed over your videos, and I'd like to say that, again. I'm very impressed with the videos that you made, and well done. If I'm sure you've heard it from other people, and you've heard it from this and that.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that a lot. Seriously,
I personally found them to be excellent. Just the commitment to them.
Yes.
It was weird. It was excellent. It was so surprising to me. It was like, what is this fucking thing? It was surprising and excellent. So just well done. So I believe you have that in you to do that again. And I'm hoping you will.
I will. I think I can. I will do it for you guys. I'm going to do something cool. I'm going to really try.
And that's it. So it's all over.
Yeah.
Time to say goodnight.
Good night.
Goodbye, little chickens.
Little chick.